Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, December 7th, 2013. This is episode 1037. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Ring Central. We do everything in the cloud. That's why I love my cloud-based phone system from Ring Central. Zero startup costs, and Ring Central is just $20 per month per user. Try it now with a 30-day risk-free trial. And when you buy one desk phone, you'll get a second phone free up to 20 phones. Call 800-543-9980 or visit ringcentral.com and use our promo code TWIT. And by IT Pro TV. Are you looking to upgrade your IT skills or prepare for certification? IT Pro TV offers engaging and informative tutorials streamed to your Roku, computer, or mobile device. For 50% off on the lifetime of your account, go to itpro.tv/techguy and use the offer code TG50. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk about computers. Although less and less we talk about computers, the internet, cell phones. Oh yeah, we talk about smartphones a lot. How to buy them, how to change to another carrier, how to use them. We talk about home theater. In fact, Scott Wilkinson will join us 33 1/3 after the hour to talk about home theater. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. If you have a question, if you want to talk, the phone ranger will answer the phone. We'll carefully groom you. When you groom our callers, do you brush their hair? Do you adjust their clothes? Fix the knots in their tie? That kind of grooming? No?
Just make sure their collar isn't flipping up.
Yeah. You don't want your label sticking out of your sweater when you come on the Tech Guy show. So we make sure. But if you want to wear a crazy, in fact, I think this should be Crazy Christmas Sweater Month. So please, if you call the Tech Guy show, please wear your wildest Christmas sweater. You are wearing a Captain America jersey there.
I'm chilly.
Yeah, it's cold. You know, and by the way, and I have to apologize. We say it's cold. We're here in Northern California because it's like, 48 degrees or something. And we're freezing. And it's really so pathetic to people who are listening in actually cold places. Mm-hmm. I saw one listener post, it was minus 36. Now, they were in Canada, and they made the interesting post. It's minus 36 in Celsius, but that's pretty much the same in Fahrenheit. So it's cold.
Wow.
And then we're complaining because it's for most people, this would be a balmy spring day.
You're right. I shouldn't complain.
Fair.
But of course, I ran out of the hotel with no coat, so luckily I found this hoodie laying around.
Oh, really? It's not yours?
Oh, no.
You just borrowed it from somebody.
Did you think I suddenly started?
I thought you were into Captain America for some reason. I don't know.
It is kind of cool. But
So call 8888. Ask Leo. Talk to Captain America there and ask your question. We'll get you on the air. We'll talk home theater in just a little bit with Scott Wilkinson. And, of course, because it's the holiday buying season, I expect a lot of buying questions. It's funny. I was saying we don't get many computer questions. We do. We get a disproportionate number of computer questions. Why? Because that's what people have problems with. And so the problems on a tablet or smartphone are much simpler. You don't have the same kinds of complexity that you have with a personal confuser. So we do get probably still more personal confuser calls than we oughta. Although I did see, yes, the personal computer industry is slowing down, but it's still, we're talking hundreds of millions of computers a year. I mean, it's not. Apple said at their event in September, or maybe it was October, we've sold total in 3 years 170 million iPads. That's how many Windows machines are sold in 6 months. One-fifth the time or one-fourth the time. So it's not, yes, tablets are big. And yes, I suppose we're moving into a post-PC world. But I suspect in the long run, PCs aren't going anywhere too soon. And I still like having, a desktop computer, a laptop. It's funny. Do you do this? I'm curious because I will sit there at breakfast, for instance, with a tablet, perusing the news. It's really kind of like, it's taken the place of reading the back of the Captain Crunch box for me. I just, it's kind of like the back of the cereal box, and you just reading through it. But then if, for instance, I think, I really need to get something on Amazon or whatever, what do? I go get my computer usually. I want a keyboard. It's easier. It's faster. I inevitably, I want to buy tickets to a show. I go get the computer. So I have a feeling that we're not yet at the point where a tablet completely replaces a computer, or are we? Share your experience. 888-827-5536. Our website is techguylabs.com. That's a good place to keep in mind. In fact, it's the only address you need to keep in mind, because when we mention something on the show or I talk about a product or whatever, we'll always post it up there on the website, techguylabs.com. You'll see it. And then you can, in fact, go, to my tip of the week, how to downgrade OS X Mountain Lion. Mountain Lion from Mavericks. Question of the week: can I run my Xbox 360 through my Xbox One? Our product of the week. And then in each show, if you go back and look at recent episodes or even distant episodes, each show there'll be a questions and answers, and you can see every question in the show and every answer in the show, and then watch it, listen to it. We put video up. And every link that I mention, everything that you want to know will be in there. So techguylabs.com. Very handy place to keep in mind if you hear me say something. You don't have to run out and write it down. You can just go there and get all the information. So let's see. What happened this week? No more product releases, please. we can rest. Although this week, I don't know, it didn't get a lot of coverage, but this was the week Microsoft said you can no longer buy Windows 7 in the stores. Put a little notice up on the website. They were going to shut it down Halloween. But they decided to keep going a little longer. This is normal when they come up with a new version of Windows, but it's a little different this year because, after all, a lot of people say, I'm not going to Windows 8. And I know a lot of people who buy new computers buy it with Windows 7. They don't want to make the change to the touch, the tablet, the big icons, the full screen windows, the loss of the startup menu. That a lot of people say, no, don't want to go there. Well, you won't be able to buy a retail package anymore of Windows 7. And this, you probably should pay attention to this if you're one of those people. The end of sales for PCs with Windows 7 installed will be October 30th of next year. So you have a little time. That doesn't guarantee you can go to Dell and say, I want a Windows 7 PC. It means they're still allowed to do it, but many retailers will not. So I wouldn't waste a lot of time if you are one of those. And I will say that, I guess the time has come to kind of bite the bullet and go to Windows 8. It's certainly, 8.1 improves some of the things that make people unhappy with it. I think. And then there are third-party programs I've mentioned before. Start and the number 8, brings a start menu back to Windows 8. That's from a company called StarDock. It's $5. There are others, Classic Shell and others, that do the same thing. So you can absolutely make Windows 8 kind of Windows 7. There's no way to really get rid of that tile screen. That'll still be there. But we might as well just get used to it, right? Why not? Malwarebytes, you know that program. We mention it a lot. It's a malware removal tool. And on their blog, Malwarebytes Unpacked, they posted their 2013 threat report. A conversation about, what malware they saw in the year 2013. And, of course, the biggest threat of 2013, ransomware. We've talked about that a lot. And not just ransomware, that is viruses that pose as government agencies and ask for money, but CryptoLocker, the worst of the bunch, which doesn't just ask for money, demands it because they have scrambled all your data. Unless you pay them within 3 days, that data is gone. They even have the nerve to put a ticker on your screen saying, time is wasting, time is going by. So they talk a little bit about that. I would agree the biggest threat, although they also mention phone scams, and that, if you've listened to the show this year, you've heard quite a few people call in and say, Microsoft called me, said I had bugs and wanted to fix them. Is it okay that I let them have access to my computer? No. Phone scam. Malwarebytes says people pose as Microsoft, an antivirus company, pretend they can remove malware from a Mac, pose as law enforcement. All of that's fake. Hey, let's take your calls. Let's go to the phones. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you got a question, a comment, a suggestion, you want to talk high tech. The Malwarebytes report, which I started talking about but ran out of time, goes on to talk about other malware, in particular Android malware, which they say is one of the big stories of the year. And I want to be careful when we talk about that, because Android malware is more of a theoretical problem. It's definitely a problem, but it's more of a theoretical problem than an actual problem. Malware on mobile, which I thought would be a huge thing, has not really taken off. Partly because mobile devices are written, more recently. All the operating systems are newer than the desktop operating systems. And so they've taken into account the potential. Macintosh and somewhat, and even more so, Windows were written in the days before there were viruses. It wasn't really an issue. The first virus was in OS 9, Macintosh OS 9. So I think Apple knew a little bit more about security, or was a little bit more concerned about it. But Microsoft Windows goes back to, in many of its systems, goes back to 1995. There wasn't an issue. Wasn't a problem. So they didn't really prepare for it. 8888 Ask Leo. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to the whole Malwarebytes threat report on our website, techguylabs.com. You can read it in detail. Who should I talk to? Phone Ranger Heather Hammond.
Well, do you want to stick with the malware thing?
I'll talk to anybody. You know that. I see somebody in Finland, but it's Finland, Minnesota.
Just as cold, apparently.
Who should I talk to? You pick somebody from this list here.
Let's go with Gloria in Norco.
All
she
right.
describes herself as a little old lady.
Well, in that case, I'm probably a little old man. Hello, Gloria.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'm 70 years old, and I came from the rock and stick generation, and computers are very challenging for me.
I understand. You sound like my mom.
Yes. I'm sure we're of the same generation.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I was perusing my computer, and I saw, I'm an artist, too.
My mom is, too. And a computer is great, isn't it, for that? Do you do art on your computer?
Well, no. I'm still not that good. But I was there was a thing that was talking about getting some supplies at a discount, and I pulled up and I got this thing called Sweet Packs. And it is a pain in my ocoli, as they say.
Sweet Packs, huh?
Yeah. And the pop-ups come, and and I mean, it's just a mess.
Oh. I'm trying to figure out what Sweet Packs are, but it sounds like it's in the category, and there's a large category of these, they're not malware, they're not bad, they're not classified as malware because in the download of whatever it is that you downloaded, it asked you, do you want to install this very helpful tool? And whether consciously or not, people do this all the time, it took they checked the box and pressed OK, and it was installed. So we can't really call it malware. Nobody wants to call it malware because you agreed to install it. Is that the case?
I don't remember.
Yeah. No, and that's the other thing is nobody ever remembers saying yes to that. And certainly if they knew, and this is why I think of it as malware, if they knew what it did, you wouldn't want it. But you're not really filled in exactly. So it's I'm being told by the chat room it's part of a ad program called Conduit. And if you go to the Conduit, yes, it sounds familiar to you, eh? If you go to the Conduit webpage, they say, we engage people. We are engaging people. 250 million Conduit users, 260,000 publishers. What they don't say is those users didn't really know what they were agreeing to, and they said yes.
Exactly.
What it is a browser tool, and it puts ads on your browser. Those are all those pop-ups.
Yeah.
And these come usually with an installer that comes with some software that you install. And nowadays, and I'm very sad to say this, a lot of even legitimate publishers add this stuff because there's good money in it. And we users have to be very careful when we install stuff. We'll see a box that says, would you like to install the SweetPacks tool? It's a chance for you, some great offers. You're going to save hundreds of dollars. All you have to do is say yes. And, the problem is it's not really informed consent. Because what they're not saying is you're going to have pop-ups all over your screen. It's going to be the most annoying thing you've ever experienced. But hey, you're engaged. So that's why I think of it. It really is malware, but nobody wants to say that because you checked the box. So the question is, you have to uninstall it.
Okay.
If you look in your ad remove, what version of Windows are you using?
I think it's 7.
Okay, so there's a control panel called Programs and Features.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, and in order not to be malware, the good news is, in order not to be malware, companies do have to put an uninstaller in. So otherwise, if you can't uninstall it, then it really is malware, right? So if you go to Add Remove Programs and uninstall, you're going to have to uninstall a couple of things. First, uninstall the Conduit toolbar.
Okay.
Okay. There will also be, unfortunately, they modify your browser so that search.
Oh, yeah, because I love Bing. Bing and I understand.
But you don't see Bing anymore. You see Conduit.
Yes, and I see SweetPacks.
Yeah, from Conduit. So what they did is they replaced Bing in your Internet Explorer with SweetPacks. So you have to also go into Internet Explorer and remove search.conduit. Conduit's the word you're going to be looking for. You might see SweetPacks, but I think Conduit is the engine behind it. So that's what you're going to want to remove. Remove that from your browser. Now, you may want to go out and get Malwarebytes and run it too. It will also, it says, yeah, we can help you remove it. It's malware, all right.
Okay.
So it might help. And now it's important that you get Malwarebytes from the right source. It's MALWARE. And then it's BYTES, like the computerbyte.org.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, .org. We'll put a link in the show notes at Tech Guy Labs and click that. It's safe to click that link and download that and run it. And that also scouts out for other stuff. And I would probably do that. There's another one, the chat room saying that they like. Wiggs says he likes ADW Cleaner. That is another tool. ADW Cleaner. And that's from bleepingcomputer.com, which is a very reputable source for this kind of thing. And ADW Cleaner will do the same thing essentially that Malwarebytes does. Okay. It's really a shame. These companies, I think, are right on the edge of what malware is, but they do say, well, we give them an uninstaller, right? I mean, malware wouldn't do that. And we ask them if they want it, and they say yes. So how could we be bad guys? We engage our users, not so. Good luck. Thanks for the call. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So sad. This should be in Malwarebytes threat report because this maybe I wasn't aware of it before, but boy, 2013 seemed to be the year of download.com and Oracle and everybody just putting this junk in their installers. And the nerve of Conduit on its website, the way they advertise, engaging people. It's just nervy. They don't say, well, the way we engage them is by tricking them. to installing our toolbar and modifying their search. And what's sad is that advertisers, none of this would work if companies didn't think this was real, legitimate advertising. And so, there's no money in this if legitimate companies don't say, oh, yeah, I want to engage people by hijacking their browser. But I think that probably companies are just as confused as we are. Hello, Scott Wilkinson.
Hello, Leo Laporte. How are you?
I'm well. If you were here, I would feed you fairy tale brownies. Better you than me, but oh well.
Well, I love them fairy tale brownies. That's for sure.
Fairy tale brownies is good. Goody. So, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, unfortunately, I can't talk about The Hobbit because I'm under.
You saw it
embargo.
48 frames.
I did see it at 48 frames. I can talk about it here, but not on national radio.
Okay. Don't break your embargo. But
yeah, unfortunately I'm under embargo. I
don't
did
break
see it
your
at 48
embargo.
frames.
You can say that you saw it in 48 frames. Can you say what you thought of it?
I can say that the 48 frames looked a lot better this time than it did the first movie.
You probably can say this, and this is the thing probably most people want. Is it worth seeking out a high frame rate theater to see it in?
I think so.
Yeah. Dolby invited me to go see it Wednesday in their Atmos theater, but that won't be probably HFR, or will it? Will
it be high frame rate? I saw it in Atmos and HFR.
That would be a good combination.
It'd be a great combination.
We made a reservation in our local theater, but it's just 3D, not anything.
It's just 24 frames and not
probably
Atmos,
just
probably.
20. Yeah, but just up the road.
High frame rate.
Yeah, okay, that's just up the road a piece. Maybe we should do that instead.
You know what? I'm getting an awfully jittery return video. You want to call me back?
Yeah, would you do that, John?
Thanks.
Well, we'll find out next week. Then Scott can talk about why the HFR is different this time around. I thought they gang shot the movies. Didn't they do that? Like they shot, that's how they did Lord of the Rings. They shot it all at once. And I would think they gang shot these too, so I'm not sure why it would be different. It would have to be in post-processing, right?
Oh, man, I'm not getting any video.
Well, hold on. Hold on now. We can send you some video. This radio show, I didn't even think about it. This radio show's in 48 frames per second. No, it's not. It's time for Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. The reason I mention this is because Scott can't talk about it, but he saw a very important motion picture that will be debuting nationwide this week. And that's all I can say. And so we'll leave it at that. Hi, Scott. Do we have him? Oh, now we've lost him completely. Well, so much for that. He saw The Hobbit at 48 frames per second. And I'm, the one question I would ask is if you can see it in a high frame rate theater, should you? And I think he said, yes, it's worth it. That's one of the interesting things about The Hobbit. Peter Jackson, its director, and it was true of The Lord of the Rings. No, maybe not. It was just true of the first Hobbit, wasn't it? Peter Jackson, its director, is a big believer in what's called high frame rate. This is something that James Cameron, the guy who directed Avatar and Titanic, is also a fan of. In fact, a lot of them think that the future of movies is high resolution plus, not just high resolution, what we call 4K, plus high frame rate. And there's Scott. Hi, Scott.
The
reason we've talked about this before, the frame rate for film is 24 frames a second. That was the least amount of film stock that could be used. It was an economy, and
they
still have
didn't
a film
waste
look
money
good.
on film.
Right. So 48 is only twice as much. Is anybody doing more than 48, like 72 or 96?
Well, James Cameron is talking about doing 60.
Okay.
Which is the same as video. And so if he did that, then the translation between movies and TV or video would be seamless, would be very easy.
Right, because right now we have to do some, these 3:2 pull downs and these weird things to get a 24-frame movie to look okay or to work on video.
That's right. To make it work at all on video.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So 48 is still not perfect for that application, but it does make things look a lot sharper on the screen.
So we won't.
Particularly things in motion.
I know you're embargoed. That they want the surprise for everybody come Wednesday when The Hobbit, or Thursday when The Hobbit is released. So you can't talk about the movie at all.
I can't talk about the movie, but I will say that in the first Hobbit, the high frame rate was the look of it was inconsistent. There were moments that really did look like what people complain about, which is that it looks like it was shot on a soap opera, the soap opera effect, or that it was shot as a PBS special on video.
One reviewer said of the first Hobbit that, and I think this is true, that The Hobbit or any fantasy movie should be a little fuzzy. if it's too much like real life. She said Gandalf's staff looked like it was, made out of resin and purchased at the Wizard Staff Company. It looked like a movie prop, which it is. And so there's a lot to be said for 24 frames per second. It's what we're used to, but also it does kind of hide the reality. And so I think really the complaint about the first Hobbit was it looked like real life, which it shouldn't.
Well, there are those who say that, certainly, but they also said the same thing about high-definition television, that it was too crisp, it was too sharp, that it was too real-looking. People got used to that. I spoke to an engineer from Technicolor who's working on the final, what's called digital cinema package, or DCP, which is the digital file of the audio and video for The Hobbit. And he said the people who work on this and look at it at high frame rate hundreds of times now cannot go back to looking at 24 frames per second.
Yeah, because
it
then
just looks too fuzzy.
It's what you're used to, I got to admit.
It's what you're used to. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so if high frame rate catches on, then people will just get used to it.
Well, but just as we had to change, the big thing that changed for HDTV is how makeup was done.
Yes.
And I remember, because, for years I did Live with Regis and Kelly as a guest on the show. And I remember when they made the transition to HD, suddenly the makeup artist was using, believe it or not, an airbrush to put on the makeup.
Yeah.
Because if you just use the normal powder, which people use, you could actually see the powder. Right. And people look like, Ben Franklin with a powdered wig. It just it looks weird. So they started using high def television. They started using airbrush makeup. If you get to super high frame rate, super high definition movies, it means that you can't use the same props that you've been using since the Cary Grant era.
That's right. That's exactly right. You were mentioning higher resolution, spatial resolution in terms of 4K or the number of pixels on the screen. High frame rate is essentially higher temporal resolution.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
It's a higher resolution in time. And so things that are in motion look sharper. They have greater resolution, greater detail. And as you say, some of the props, can you imagine back original Star Trek, they used commissary salt shakers for their medical equipment. You remember that?
It looked like a salt shaker.
And in high def, and when you get the Blu-ray of the original Star Trek series, you can see some things that you just never saw in standard definition.
Right.
Well, the same thing is true here. And I don't know of any other movies that are going to come out in high frame rate except for The Hobbit 1, 2, and 3, because as you said earlier, he shot them all together as one big thing.
Right.
And also Avatar 2 is supposed to come out in, I don't know whether it's 48 or 60, but James Cameron is going to be has shot that or will shoot that or is shooting that. I don't know what the status is at a high frame rate. So we're starting to see it a little bit, and people are starting to line up on one side or the other, You know
what we've learned in the technology industry? We're humans are not very good about learning from history, but I'll tell you something we've learned from the technology industry.
Please,
transitions are murder. And that's, when you go from state A to state B, whatever those two are, Windows 7 to Windows 8, or high, 24 frames to high frame rate, or printed newspapers to the internet. Yeah. The transition is ugly. It's not where we're headed. It's just that it's a melding of the two that it's just ugly. And I think that's what you could say right now. And maybe The Hobbit 2 is a little closer to the final result, and so maybe
it is. It's appealing. Much more consistent. I will say that. I did not feel like, oh, there's a moment that really looks like it was a PBS special or a telenovela, as some other of my colleagues
You
said.
really don't want it to look like a telenovela. Oh,
you really
man.
don't. No, but this was much more consistent across the entire movie.
Yeah.
So I was happy. I was happy about that.
Good.
And I saw it in Atmos, heard it in Atmos, and that was great.
That's the Dolby surround sound that includes above your head.
Correct. It's a truly immersive, what they call 3D audio system. Currently only in theaters, commercial theaters. You can't get it at home. But yeah, it really does. It's great when the dragon is flying around. Don't think I'm giving away too much by saying
there's a dragon. I'm reading out loud to Lisa and her son, The Hobbit, the
very
original,
good.
and it's good. It's a kid's book, though. I think people forget that it, unlike The Lord of the Rings, which was really written for adults, Hobbit was written for kids, and it's very kiddie-like, and so it predated The Lord of the Rings. So John in our studio is such a fan that he saw the first Hobbit movie in every format possible.
Wow!
I should ask him which he preferred.
That's dedication. I'd love to know that.
That's like 6 different ways, right? I mean, there's a
oh yeah.
I feel for these guys because they got to make the film in every possible format.
The Technicolor guy told me they have to make like a couple hundred different versions with all the different languages dubbed in and all that kind of stuff.
Scott Wilkinson, Home Theater Geek, avsforum.com. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
So, John, which one did you prefer? He said 48 frames for sure.
48 frames.
Really busy scene.
But you can't. You can get 3D plus 48? Okay.
In fact, the only way you're going to see 48 is in 3D.
Ah, interesting.
They're not going to show 48.
I wonder if Santa Rosa has 48. And so does the Roanoke Park Theater has 48. I'm wondering now if we're going to get 48 here, because we had booked a D-box because Lisa likes reserved seats at the movie theater. I don't blame her.
Well,
especially for something like that. You don't want to have to get in line 12 days ahead of time. So we had reserved seats. And you don't want to be
stuck off to the side.
Right, and they called us because they don't do D-box in 3D because then you'd throw up. So they called us, said, you can still have those reserved seats. You just should understand we've made this a 3D showing now instead of a 2D. And she said, that's fine. We'll keep the seats. Because we got it more for the seats than the fact that they go like this.
Yeah. Well, that makes me sick even without 48 frames.
She loves it. She turns it all the way up. But you can turn it off. The seats don't have to do anything.
Oh, that's nice. They have a little individual
There's
control.
a little setting for how strong you want the D-box effect.
That's cool. Well, I will tell you this. 3D does not guarantee 48 frames, but 48 frames does guarantee 3D.
Got it.
So it's one way, not the other. It might be in your town, but I think you as the tech guy really should see it in 48 frames. Did you see the original in 48?
No, I saw it. We went to see it in IMAX. And it turns out IMAX was not 48. I was disappointed.
Correct.
I thought, IMAX is going to be 48.
It's going to be the best.
It'll be the best, and it wasn't. Although it was great in IMAX, and I think Smaug. Is it Smog or Smaug?
No, it's Smaug. Yeah, I'm sure Dick DeBartolo or somebody at Mad Magazine is going to do a parody.
It's begging to be done.
The Desolation of Smog.
Smaug.
S-M-O-G.
Right. Smaug.
Right, with the city just covered in brown soot.
Ultra Dog's asking if there's a place. Lawn Dog's asking if there's a place where you can find out if your theater is HFR. There is a website. That's how I did it.
Yeah, there is. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Well, I'm sure if I Google HFR theaters,
you'll easily find it.
Actually, you can even find thehobbit.com has a special page for find an HFR theater.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then Peter Jackson's HFR Q&A, HFR FAQ. So these are this is see it in HFR 3D. There's a whole page at thehobbit.com.
Oh, good.
So you can
Good,
see
good,
all
good.
the theaters that are offering it that way.
Now, QNX Monkey in the chat room is saying that we had the first Hobbit in IMAX with 48. So maybe some IMAXs did do it in 48. You need certain equipment. You need certain...
We have an old iMac. The Sony, the Metreon is one of the is an older IMAX, I think.
Yeah, so they might not have the equipment for it.
Yeah.
You need a newer projector that can handle 48 frames.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, because IMAX is already big film, and I think there's 2 projectors. It's complicated.
Yeah, yeah. IMAX does use 2 projectors for 3D.
Yeah.
Certainly. So on my podcast, actually, a week from Monday is going to be Thomas Larson, the projectionist at the Chinese theater in Hollywood, the famous Chinese theater.
Cool. That will be really cool.
It'll be really cool.
Oh, my God, the projectionist. They still have those, huh?
I know. It's amazing. And that's an IMAX theater now. So
A large corn chowder, please. Thank you. Yeah, that'll be interesting to hear about that.
Yeah, I sure think so. Chimera in the chat room, are they re-releasing Hobbit 1 and HFR alongside? Not that I know of. They just released the Blu-ray not too long ago, and that was not in high frame rate. Blu-ray does not support high frame rate. The writer is asking, do they still shoot on regular film and upgrade to IMAX? Well, certainly The Hobbit was shot on digital cameras. It was not shot on film. It was shot on the Red Epic. And it was shot in 3D with 2 cameras in a rig so that it actually looked, that it was shot originally in 3D and processed in 3D.
I gotta take it over. So if you want to see The Hobbit at a high frame rate theater, there are quite a few of them. And as Scott said, you have to see it in 3D. And I'm not a fan of 3D, but I'll put up with 3D to see high frame rate. If you go to The Hobbit's website, which is thehobbit.com, there's a HFR 3D page. That's what HFR stands for, high frame rate, or 48 frames a second. So it's The Hobbit. I'll put this in the show notes, of course. thehobbit.com/HFR3D. And there's quite a few theaters all over the country and in Canada too. That seems to be any modern theater seems to be capable of this. It's got to be digital and all of that. Lots of places all over. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. That's the phone number. Scott in Finland, Minnesota.
Hey, Leo.
Did they name it Finland because it's so dang cold?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, the Finlanders moved over here in the 1800s.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So they kind of were right at home here.
They didn't call it New Finland, though.
No, just straight up Finland. But yeah, it's 5 below last I checked here. That's why I'm inside watching you. Finally got a chance after a couple months.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you. What can I do for you?
Well, I wanted to thank you and your mom for making me buy my Note 2.
Oh, yeah, Mom has a Note 2 and loves it.
Yeah, that's what last I talked to you, that was kind of, she had just gotten it.
Yeah.
And I decided to go that route when I moved into the smartphone myself. So
She thanks me every time I talk to her for it. She still loves it, yeah.
Yeah, it's great, and everybody says when I pull it out, holy smokes, that's big.
Yeah. But it's no longer the biggest by any means. There's quite a few 6-inch phones out now.
Yeah. Well, I got it for the stylus.
That's right.
And that's part of the reason I'm calling today is I've been having a hard time finding something that's like Paint.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't you want a great drawing program to go with that? And, on the iPad, there are amazing things. Even though the iPad doesn't have a stylus, there are programs like ArtRage, Procreate is amazing. Canvas. There are quite a few great drawing programs on the iPad. I don't know of, and mostly it's because I'm not a... you don't really need a drawing program to do stick figures.
Right.
I kind of lack a little bit in that category. But the chat room's telling me that Sketchbook Express is a good choice for Android.
I'm actually now something geometric is I'm in construction. I do septic systems and dirt work, and so part of the deal is using this in the field to draw my site maps and whatnot. So
so it isn't fine art.
Okay.
You're saying it's what you're doing is not necessarily fine art. It's
right.
it's maps and so forth.
Exactly. Yeah. So a square for the house,
Right.
rectangle for the driveway, a long rectangle for the road. Those.
So what you really, what I think you don't want, you don't want a freehand. These are called freehand apps. You want a program that will do kind of diagramming.
More like a CAD type of thing,
Yeah.
but I've tried some of those without much success.
Well, again, something I don't know. You want something like Visio for Windows, but you want it on Android. And this is great because we have a chat room that is expert in all sorts of stuff. They say
G. Scott there, by the way, just so you know who you're talking to.
Oh, well, hey, G. Scott.
Hey.
Oh, well, I didn't know it was my old buddy, G. Scott. Yeah. All right. So you've been out here to the studio and hung out with us a little bit. Is there an AutoCAD? There is, they say in the chat room, there's an AutoCAD for Android. Or maybe they're just saying you need something like an AutoCAD. Yeah, maybe that's what they're saying.
I did download one. It had good reviews, but I just couldn't actually get the darn thing working. So I thought, well, I'll either hit you and the chat room up and see if I can get a good suggestion. I'm
just looking. There is an AutoCAD for Android, and it can't be, but it looks like it's free. I don't see a price for it. It's called AutoCAD 360. And they say it is a free, easy-to-use drawing and drafting mobile app that allows you to view, edit, and share AutoCAD drawings. I wonder if you can create drawings. Yeah, it looks like you can. Wow, this looks pretty good. Very, very positive reviews. So that's one I would try. And since it's free, it's easy to try. AutoCAD 360. Yeah.
Okay.
And since you're in the chat room, I'll leave it to you to see their other choices because there are quite a few of these. I can't believe AutoCAD. How much is AutoCAD on the desktop? It's hundreds of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that
and it is actually for creation.
It looks like it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it is. It's kind of hard to tell. I could see why they'd offer it for free if it only read AutoCAD drawings, right? But it looks like you can create, new drawing creation. Here's the deal. There's always something in there.
Always a deal, huh?
AutoCAD 360 is free to download and use, but if you get the AutoCAD 360 Pro subscription plan, you can create new drawings.
There we go.
So the plan is $5 a month, or you can buy a $50 annual plan.
Okay. Well, so, within the realm,
Yeah, it's not hugely expensive. This is, and it bugs me just the slightest, a lot. This is the trend in mobile apps is to give it away, and then get you. We call it freemium. It's premium for free. You get it for free, but then you have to buy. It's Candy Crush Saga is a perfect example, and a lot of games are freemium. You have to buy your way up, and I judge this on how much you can do with that for free. So if you can do a lot for free, and then, for instance, there's some really good drawing programs on the iPad that you can do the basics for free, and then for $5 you can buy more pens. That seems fair. And mostly they do that. And this all came about on the iPad because iPad didn't offer a demo mode. Right? There was
the whole subscription thing, that was why I didn't get a smartphone until this year.
Yeah.
I got past that $30 a month or whatever.
For a long time, the consensus, the general consensus, the general wisdom was, people are going to get fatigued with all of these little, monthly bills, and nobody wants 20 different $5 a month bills. I think we've kind of gotten used to it.
Yeah.
I think we kind of, whether we wanted to or not, it isn't, because it's an automatic charge. You put it on your credit card. It isn't so painful as we all thought. It does add up, though. You have to be careful.
Yeah, I'm curious. And too, since I've gotten it, it's been worth more than I'm paying.
Well, and that's exactly
in the field. So.
I hate to see people say, I am not going to pay $70 a month or whatever it is for my smartphone. That just is, it's an insult. It really comes down to, is it worth it? And I think a lot of times it is. For me, to be always on the internet, no matter where I am, is so valuable.
Yes, indeed.
And I try not to think of the $70.
Yeah, you got to kind of swallow that.
Yeah,
being in business, I mean, there is an expense there. So
right.
So,
it's a business expense for you, and that's the good news.
Yeah. Well, again, I wanted to thank you for pushing me that way. Thank your mom, too.
I will, Scott. That's great.
She liked it. That kind of helped me out.
So nice to talk to you, Scott.
You too, Leo.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye. And come back and visit us again soon. We have a open studio here, which is crazy. I know of no other radio station in the world that allows people to walk in and sit down and stare at the DJ. But I like it. I like it. I was just reading an article about somebody who had a T-Mobile plan, and for some reason he was required to talk to a T-Mobile representative, and he found out that without any warning, and I have this plan, so I've got to call him. It turns out T-Mobile has a $90 a month everything you can eat plan, and without any warning, it's actually $70. But unless you call and ask, you'll never know. And so I think it's probably prudent every few months just to check your mobile plan and see if you're getting the best deal you can.
To make sure you're not paying too much?
Yes.
That you can actually pay
because
less
if you think about it, there's no incentive. I'll give you a good example.
That's hilarious.
I was on the phone. We moved recently, and I had to cancel garbage service in the old place. And I called up, and she said, "Well, I see that you paid through January." I said, "Yes, that is. That's the case. But I need to quit now because I'm moving, and I don't really need garbage service in the next couple of months." And she says, "And?" And I said, "What?" She said, "And I want a refund." Yes. I said, "Wait a minute. You're not allowed to give me a refund unless I ask for it. Is that what you're telling me?" She says, "Yes."
Ooh,
she was very
her.
nice because she said, "And?"
I love
She
her.
hinted.
Yes.
But that's, I think, not uncommon in business. Yeah, make sure they ask before you give them any money back, even if we technically owe it to them. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. So funny. And
That's customer service.
I said, "I
hate
love
that
you,
customer
Christy."
service.
I said, "I love you. You are great."
Thank you.
And then I said, "Is this a policy is this a legal, the government, or is this your company's policy?" She said, She had to stay within the letter of what her job required.
Okay.
But she also felt guilty. It was like $41, and she just felt guilty. And so she really and I was very puzzled. I did not know.
And I love your blouse.
Yeah, I had no
guessing
idea
all
where
day long.
she was going. Women do this a lot. And
The answer could be champagne.
notice anything?
And you're beautiful.
Yes.
And
You can't go wrong with that, right?
Marabou.
I notice how gorgeous you are. That's probably what I should say. Couldn't really say it to her.
Since you were on the phone, huh?
Yeah. And you are lovely. And all right, let's get Scott back on here because he has something more
And
to say. Isn't that the funniest thing? And
yes, I am so happy to be here.
so a little tip: if you're ever on the phone with a service rep and they say "and," just say, "I want my money.
I want a refund.
I want my money back."
Give me my money.
All right, Scotty, you take it over. I'm going to eat some soup.
Please have some soup.
And
Wow, Rusty Bones had a Panasonic plasma taken out by lightning in San Diego 2 weeks ago. Holy smokes. Very odd. Well, certainly getting taken out by lightning. Even had it on a Monster surge protector. Well, that just goes to show you. I mean, Monster's probably not a bad surge protector, but surge protectors, at least anything but the really, really expensive ones, and probably ideally the whole house ones that you put on your house, which are really expensive, might not do much if you get a direct lightning strike, But a lightning strike in San Diego, I live a couple hundred miles north of San Diego, and so it's not that far, and I don't think I've ever had a lightning strike. Question, consider it one, did Monster Insurance cover it? That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, literally strengths. Holy smoke. Hey, Sackman, how you doing? What do I recommend as protection? Boy, that's a tough one. Because I live in a place where it's not such a big deal, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. But Rusty Bones just proved me wrong. So I'm now going to have to go look into it more carefully. Like I said, there's a whole house solution that you can basically bolt onto your house and your main electrical system. But man, a lightning strike, I don't know if there's anything that can protect against that directly. I mean, because that's millions of volts. So I couldn't tell you. I will look at it though, because that is an important question. Let's see. S. Garmine1 sent a link to The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug production diary. Oh, that's pretty cool. At cgmeetup.net. So check that out. Hey, McButterpants, always glad to see you. The Sue the Writer makes a good point, and it was made earlier about there should be some guarantee on those. They reimburse you for equipment up to some amount of money. A lot of surge protectors carry that. So, and I don't know if the monster ones do or not. So, Rusty Bones, you should check that out. CRL, yeah, good idea for the forums. Start talking a little bit more about protection. Rusty Bones, let's see. What I like about monster surge protectors, I've seen them honor their warranty and replace the whole system. In fact, upgraded since the things were older. Well, that's good to know. So, contact Monster on that. Yeah, Y Guy says, if lightning hits your house, you're toast. Nothing can protect you unless you spend boku bucks. And I think you're exactly right about that. I'm seeing judder on my J-Spin. I'm seeing judder on my setup when I'm trying to use 1080p24. Well, that's a very good question. What's your TV? Some TVs can show 24 frames per second at 48 or 72 or 96, but it's mostly 48. Some of the high-end Panasonics will do 96. And if they do, set it to that, because that'll make it much smoother. Otherwise, you probably have to set, if you're at 48 and you're still seeing judder, which is not unheard of, then you want to set it to 60. And you'll get 3-2 pull down, but it'll be smoother, ultimately, than 48. So that's what I would do there. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that I've put up a series of buying guides on AVS Forum. I've been working really hard on them. So if you just go to the articles section of avsforum.com, you'll see a bunch of buying guides. My and the AVS Forums and the industry at large top picks, curated list by me, of the top sound bars and LED TVs and plasmas and speaker systems, low-cost speaker systems under $2,500. And you might think, wait a second, $2,500 is hardly low cost. Well, in the world of speakers, it really is. So there are seven or eight of those on there now. Also, the best Blu-rays from our Blu-ray reviewer, Ralph Potts. Just want to make sure everybody understands. J-Spin says that his TV is a Samsung 55-inch. The question, J-Spin, is what is the model number, or at least the line? Is it an F5500 or 6400, or what is the model line there? And I can probably tell you. I might have to look it up. Dark Jedi, you are most welcome for the AVS Forum LCD buying guide. That just got put up on Friday, and I think it's one of the most important ones because everybody looks for TVs this time of year, and especially for the Super Bowl. And I've got TVs in there up to 80 inches. So check that out. Dylan from Canada asks, do most new TVs have the ability to turn down the refresh rate to avoid the video look? Well, they don't turn down the refresh rate, but they do let you disable what's called frame interpolation. Every TV manufacturer has their own name for this, but generically it's called frame interpolation. And most TVs do give you the ability to turn it off. In the Samsungs, it's called Auto Motion Plus. In LGs, I think it's called True Motion. I forget what it's called in some of the other sets. But you have to go look into the menu and find it and turn it off, and then you won't have the video look at all. You'll have more motion blur, but you won't have that video look. So that is what I do recommend for that. Let's see, Aaron B. $2,500 is what I would consider the price for a lot of mid-range things. Yeah, exactly. Well, especially in terms of speakers. Man, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on speakers because speakers are basically and ultimately an analog thing. And analog electronics and analog devices, well-made ones, are always going to be expensive. High-quality digital gets cheap because you stamp out 1 million of those chips and it becomes very inexpensive to make them. But high-quality analog electronics and things with moving parts are always going to be expensive. And so speakers are very expensive.
I just hope Stewie can get a titanium flange for his time machine so he can bring Brian back.
Indeed.
That's all I care about. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure.
See you later. Bye-bye.
You bet.
Oh, hey, who's on the show on Monday?
Oh, on Monday, it's Mark Seaton from Seaton Sound, speaker design and DIY. Speaking of speakers.
Love that. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. And it's time to talk about computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater, digital photography. I don't know why I'm gesturing as if you can see those and all that jazz. Jazz hands. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside those areas, you can call, but you just have to use Skype or something like that to make it free. 8888 Ask Leo. James is in Long Beach. He's our next caller. Hi, James. Leo Laporte.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Great show as always.
Thank you.
I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago. I went out and bought a new computer last week based on your advice. I've had XP. I've had an Acer for like the last 10 years. I hold on to stuff. And then I replaced the hardware about 5 years ago. And I was, I have to upgrade because they're going to discontinue support for XP next year.
Right.
I was hemming and hawing about, trying to find 7 or go ahead and get an 8. So you said that, last weekend was, because of Black
The last time to get the boxed version of Windows 7. You can still get Windows 7 computers, though.
So I went and to the big store. I won't name it, but I went to the big store looking for like i5, and they steered me to a Lenovo that has i7.
Good.
And 8 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
500 hard drive.
That's a high-end system. How much?
$698.
Great deal.
Yeah. It's the Ultrabook IdeaPad 15-inch screen. And I got a couple of questions about it. They were talking about the solid-state drive and how great that is. It is a quick boot up. But then I was at the service desk doing the data transfer, and everybody there had a Lenovo. And one of the techs mentioned that there had been issues, problems with the solid-state drive. So here's one of my other questions, too, along with that regarding the solid-state drive, is that I went ahead and popped for the 3-year warranty, $229. And, of course, I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse. So I wanted to get your feedback on getting that type of warranty.
Well, I think that's not unreasonable if you see a lot of people at the service desk. Maybe you were smart to buy that. I don't generally buy those. It's self-insurance. It's not self-insurance. It's buying insurance. And the way insurance works is you will end up, as a group, paying more than it costs any individual. So the question is, do you want to self-insure? I usually self-insure. I figure I'm saving in the long run. But I don't think that sounded like a lot of money for 3 years, especially since you keep computers a long time.
Yeah.
In my opinion, solid-state drives are not less reliable than spinning drives.
Oh, okay.
You probably saw a lot of people there with Lenovo's because that's what they're selling a lot of.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing, yeah. One gal, she bought her Lenovo because she had about 6 months, and the hinge came apart. That was the only other issue that I saw.
Yeah, well, those things are going to any laptop. The biggest stress point is the opening and closing of the lid.
And then I'm kind of getting used to Windows 8. I don't mind it that much, but there's a program on here called Absolute Data Protect. What do you know about?
That's a Lenovo thing.
Okay.
So you'll see Lenovo and others subsidize the cost of the notebook by putting trialware of third-party programs on it. And so this is a data and identity protection software. Guarantee you it's free for a limited time. Just like they put McAfee on there, right?
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, they'll say, well, I hope you've enjoyed your absolute protection. Would you like to renew?
Yeah.
And then Lenovo gets a few bucks.
Yeah.
But the prices of these computers, I mean, what you just described is a very high-end system, and the price of it is very, very low.
Yeah.
So there's something's got to give there.
Right.
And so the way they make a little more money is by putting stuff like that on there. You can safely uninstall it.
Okay, so it's a low jack for laptops, and
if you want to keep it, but eventually you're gonna have to pay for it.
Okay, and I did the Carbonite backup, and
Good.
I'm still having problems getting my Outlook contacts back in. What it did is it put the files into my contacts, but the data isn't there. So like I click on, like say the Leo Laporte show, or
and you got just the name, no number.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about that. Well, this is fun, this echo. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. There's some technical issue, so I apologize for the echo on my voice. It's not you, I don't think. Today, I consider myself... I'm sorry. I can't think of why... So you're saying the Carbonite backup is missing the data?
Yeah.
See, Outlook puts everything into a .pst file, an Outlook.pst file. If you get the whole file, there's no way that Carbonite could not get some data but get others. You either get the file or you don't.
Yeah, I think because the guy from Carbonite, the supervisor guy, spent a lot of time on the phone with me and just rigged everything up, and then he gave me the knowledge page, the instructions to the steps to do it. And so I probably didn't do something right. I'm going to try and call them on Monday. They're not open on the weekends, I don't think, but I'll call them on Monday and see if they can finish, because I'm sure I didn't do something right. But
no. See, this is I got to stop people. It's not your fault. We always blame ourselves. Oh, I'm sure I'm just dumb. I'm too. I messed something up. It's my fault. No, it's not your fault. Something's not working right. I don't know if it's Carbonite. Frankly, I wonder what. What you could do is export your Outlook, or actually archive your Outlook and look at those files and see if they have the data in it. It seems to me that something about that Outlook.pst file is messed up, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I still have my old Acer as a backup, so I can always, if I need to get some information on the contacts that way.
Yeah, but your backup should work. What I would suggest doing is, one thing you could do is zip that Outlook.pst file and keep it, and have Carbonite back the zip up, and then check that zip to see if it's complete there. I'm not sure what's going on there. I have no idea. And I don't think that's Carbonite. I don't know how Carbonite would back up. It's all an integral file. There's no way Carbonite could back up, that file and miss some data in it. It's all there, or not. So there's something else going on. But if you just try zipping the Outlook.pst file and giving it to somebody, having Carbonite back that up. Hey, thanks for the call, James. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what that echo was, whether it was on our end or what. I don't think we'll have it on the next caller, but let's try. Al in Chula Vista, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, the Chromecast doesn't want to stay connected to Wi-Fi.
I hate it when that happens. Do you use Yeah, go ahead.
No, Google points to the router, and when I call the ISP, they say, "What's Chromecast?"
Chromecast? No.
The ISP asked me. I had no clue.
Chromecast? Okay, so I think I do know what's going on, and I think he might not be far off, but let's see. First of all, are you using Comcast's Wi-Fi access point?
Verizon, Fios.
Or whatever it is. Use it. So, I'm sorry, I thought you said Comcast. You said Verizon.
I did say Verizon, yes.
Yeah, sorry. So the Verizon, you're using their Action Tech Wi-Fi router.
Correct.
Yeah. And what's happening is every once in a while it drops out. Do you have any other stuff that's using that 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth? For instance, I'll give you an example. In my house, I have a Sonos system, and I get interference from the Sonos system on 2.4 gigahertz. So there's a couple of solutions. I happen to have a router, and I bet you do too, that can do that's dual band. It could do 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. So what I do is I use 5 gigahertz for all the laptops. It eliminated the problem. The other solution would be to manually say, I want to use a different channel. In fact, the best thing to do is to go out and get a Wi-Fi analyzer. There are lots of free programs out there. I'm thinking the one, if you're on Windows, is Insider. But there are a lot of different, it's from metageek.net. And look at the Wi-Fi. If there's a lot of Wi-Fi from other people that's interfering, you might want to manually choose a band. I'll help you a little bit more with this after the break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah. Roku, I see Roku on... Roku and Sonos both use 2.4 gigahertz, and I see them in my network. So one thing is to Sonos uses channel 1, so use channel 11 on your router. But what I ended up doing is using 5 gigahertz because all that stuff is on 2.4.
There's also a good Android app that's called Wi-Fi Radar.
Oh yeah, I use that. There's lots of them. Yeah, this one's just a Windows app, but yeah. Oh, your Roku uses 5 gigahertz. But see, the remote is not as powerful. Oh, good. Yeah, you got a good deal, Joe. Do you like it? So at 40, Heather, at 40 below, Fahrenheit and Celsius are the same at 40. So I figure 36 is actually pretty close to 40. So I figure it's pretty close.
Oh.
I think he's wrong.
I just don't care.
Let's see. I don't know.
But I told him I'd let you know his thoughts.
Okay, Google. What is 46 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
Yeah, right. Tech Dino says it's just freaking cold, right?
Didn't hear the whole thing. What is 46 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
46 degrees Celsius is 114.8
Oh, I did the wrong
degrees
one.
Fahrenheit.
What is minus 46 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
Right.
What? Oh, it doesn't understand minus? What is negative 46 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
Negative 46 degrees Celsius is minus 50.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
Very close.
Oh, it is very close.
Yeah.
I think the actual number, anyway.
So when it's at 40 degrees below, Celsius and Fahrenheit meet.
I mean, it's kind of like, hey, let's turn it up to 11. It's like, look, you're dead, all right, from hypothermia.
Right. By the way, the chat room is faster than Google now.
Oh, that's a problem. They should work on that.
Not everybody has a chat room, though. That's the point.
All I know is my fingernails are blue.
Are they really?
A little bit. They do.
Wow.
I'm one of those.
Wow.
coldy colds.
Yeah, Lisa's feet have been turning blue, and I'm a little nervous about that. I think that's not normal. Big football game tomorrow. Seahawks, Niners.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa's going.
They have like extra security. And did you hear about all that?
No, I don't know. Because what? Because the Seahawks? Because those Seattleites are such thugs?
I guess. Well, so are we. But
I think they're Chablis drinking. I think we're all Chablis drinkers.
They are going to sweep the parking lot at a certain point. If you don't have a ticket, you got to get out of there. You got to get in the game, get in your seats, and be good little kids.
They must have some hooliganisms.
And then some cops are going to wear Seattle gear and then just be like, hey, don't mess with people. Be polite. Be good.
That's good.
Don't start
That's a good
stuff.
idea. That's a good idea. I like that.
Not bad.
I'm scared to death of the Seahawks. Don't believe me. Yeah, Lisa always calls the Cowboys the Cowgirls. Always. She never says the Cowboys.
Funny.
She always calls them the Cowgirls. She's kind of rabid. First use of a Casio synthesizer in popular music. All right, everybody knows that song is Tainted Love, but do you know, Heather Hammond, the name of the group?
Soft Cell.
Oh, never mind. You knew that.
There was a really dirty song on that record.
Really?
Remember that?
No.
Sex Dwarf?
No, I don't want to hear it. No,
crazy
thank you.
song,
Thank
yeah.
you. This is a family show. So Alan Chula Vista has a problem with his Chromecast. It will not continue. It loses the Wi-Fi signal. And he's got a Action Tech router from Verizon. I think that simply improving the Wi-Fi might help. Now, Chromecast, by the way, Chromecast is, I love it. And Time Magazine just gave it their Gadget of the Year for 2013. It's mostly because it's $35. You plug it into the HDMI port on your TV. It has its own Wi-Fi capability, and it picks up the signal itself. So you control it by using your smartphone, your computer, your tablet. For instance, surfing to Netflix on your tablet, and then finding the movie or TV show you want to watch, starting it to play, and then say, send that to the Chromecast. But what then happens is the Chromecast uses its own Wi-Fi to go out, get, and stream the show. So that means you can close the tablet, put it away, turn it off even, and the show will continue. Chromecast is doing its own thing. I don't know if Chromecast can use 5 gigahertz. So that's maybe not the perfect solution. But are you on Windows?
Yes.
Yeah. Go to metageek.net and get Insider, which is INSSIDER. You can download it. You can also put it on your smartphone, iOS, or your Macintosh. But there's a free version, and it will do what you need, which is give you a graphic analysis of what your Wi-Fi looks like. And Wi-Fi can be tricky, especially, and it gets more so these days because all your neighbors have Wi-Fi. Are you in an area where there are other Wi-Fi signals visible?
Correct. Mine isn't, but theirs are.
Yeah. So, they interfere. Everything interferes. And 2.4 gigahertz, which was the original Wi-Fi frequency, is very crowded. The reason Wi-Fi is there is because it's unregulated. So baby monitors are on it, smartphones, cell phones, all sorts of stuff's on it. Cordless phones, your microwave oven. All of them have 2.4 gigahertz radiation. So if you can move to 5, that's always a good solution. 5 has some disadvantages. It can't... 5 can't get through walls as well and so forth. You're saying you don't see your Wi-Fi? Are you hiding your SSID?
I am, but I connect to it. I do the MAC address and the MAC filtering, so it will connect, and it does find it when it's...
I would, that people do this for security, right? So, like, my neighbors won't use it. It's not effective.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
So I try turning off SSID hiding. Your neighbors, if they're of a mind to hack your signal, can see it anyway, even if you hide it. So
you said during the break, Lou, you talked about getting another channel for that. Is that something still feasible?
Yes.
That continues.
Well, yeah. So here's the deal on that. There are 11 channels in the U.S., but really, in effect, there are only 3 because of the nature of the frequency that it's using. It spreads into the other adjoining channels. So you've got kind of 1, 2, 3, which is basically channel 2, 4, 5, 6, which is channel 5, 7, 8, 9, which is channel 8, and then you can go to channel 11. Try different. Normally these are on auto, so your Wi-Fi router chooses one, and then of course every device connected it will use that channel because it sees the router on that channel. You can on your Wi-Fi device you could choose a different band and see if that helps. Sometimes that does, but that's what this.
I'll start by turning off the SSID, and then
I would turn off SSID hiding, turn off MAC address filtering. That does nothing either, by the way. If somebody's trying to hack you, it's easy to spoof any MAC address. So what they do is they watch the traffic. They get from the traffic in the packets. They get the SSID. They can see what your ID for your router is, even if it's hidden. And they also see the MAC address of a device that's connected. And they go, okay, so now I'm just going to connect up using that MAC address. It'll knock your other thing off. So there's a little warning on your part, but it's not an effective way to hide. Really, the best way to do it is to turn on WPA security, WPA2 security. It means you're going to have to use a password the first time you join the network, only once. But that's sufficient to keep everybody off, and it works. So a lot of times people turn on SSID hiding and MAC address filtering as a security measure. Those are ineffective. WPA2 is sufficient. So that can also cause a problem with the Chromecast. So I would try turning that off, see if things work. I love the. Do you like the Chromecast? Do you like the Chromecast? You want to keep using it?
Oh yeah,
I love it.
We're trying to upgrade some dumb TVs to a little bit smarter TVs.
Yeah. And they just added HBO Go to the Chromecast. They've got Pandora. They've got Netflix. They've got YouTube, Google Plus movies, and Play Music and Play Movies. I just think that there's and as I'm hoping the last holdout is Amazon streaming. If Amazon goes on there, man, you got it made. That's a great little device. $35.
Oh, it's a bargain. We do like it. I didn't know they added HBO, but so far so good.
They just added it. Cool. Hey, thanks for the call. I hope that helps for you. Yeah, I want you. Of course, you want to use it. All my TVs have a Chromecast on them, all of them, because at $35, it's just kind of like a no-brainer. I mean, these are even TVs that have their own smart TV interfaces. In many cases, Apple TV or Roku are on there too. But I think Chromecast is just fabulous, and the sound is good. It does a very good job, in my opinion, of streaming. It will do 1080p streaming with Netflix if your bandwidth is capable of it. So I think it's a good choice. I like it. Willie, Chicago, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Willie.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, I just like to apologize in advance just because I'm using this app called Text Free to call you.
Sounds great.
And I think there's like a 2-second delay.
No.
Oh, there's not?
No.
Oh.
There's maybe a half a second. It's not bad.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I have a couple of flash drives and hard drives and whatnot, and it seems like everything, like removable storage, like portable storage that I own, seems to be corrupting. It seems like, and
that's not good.
Wondering if you, no, it's not. And do you have any place where do you have any recommendations as to where I can send my stuff to be recovered?
Well, okay. What I do is I use some software. I wouldn't send it anywhere unless you have lots and lots of money. But in general, so there's two kinds of failures hard drives, or two reasons hard drives can get corrupted. One is just software corruption. One is hardware corruption. And I think that given the number of things that you say are corrupted, it's not hardware. Hardware is like a big power. It could be big power failure, fried everything, but it also could be it got dropped, it got knocked. That's expensive. That's people like Drive Savers. That's thousands of dollars per device. Better to do it in software. Bring it to somebody who really knows what they're doing and let them do data recovery on it. That should be cheap. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by Ring Central. Ring Central does our phone system here at the Brick House Studios. We're big fans. It is a cloud-based phone system. It eliminates the need for a PBX. There's no hardware in the basement. That was a big part of why I chose Ring Central when we built our studios. I didn't want to maintain hardware. I didn't want the complexity of it. I wanted the flexibility of a cloud-based solution. And our IT guy, Russell, told me, hey, I've installed Ring Central for a lot of people. Love it. You're going to love it too. And we did, and he's right. We do. It's one of the reasons we're doing ads for him, because I'm just a fan. 0 startup costs. There's no PBX hardware to install or maintain. Customized call handling really makes this a very good solution for us because, some of our staff is off-site. Some of our staff wants to work at home, et cetera, et cetera. Ring Central means that no matter where you are, you can use the smartphone apps to use the business line for calls, to receive business calls. You can get calls in, voicemail in your email. You could send and receive faxes straight from your email or your PC or your smartphone or your tablet. If new faxes arrive in your email inbox, so you're really always staying on top of your business, you could print and preview faxes. You can even, in Ring Central, design cover sheets and sign them electronically right from your computer. Really great for real estate transactions. You'll never need a fax machine ever. That's nice. Plus, very affordable, as low as $20 per month per user. Now, I want you to start right now. We've got a 30-day risk-free trial and a special offer for our listeners. When you buy one desk phone, you get a second phone free, up to 20 phones. We use those really nice Polycom phones you see right on the front page there. In fact, some of our producers like the cordless Polycoms, which means they can wander around, or since we're on an open plan, sometimes they want to go in another room to make their calls. They can do that. When you order one phone, you'll get a second phone free, up to 20 phones. So call our special number, 800-543-9980, 800-543-9980, or visit ringcentral.com right here and use the promo code TWIT, 30 days free, and that free phone offer. ringcentral.com. So I want to make sure Willie gets the help he needs. So, Willie, you're saying how many devices died?
I think it's like 3 or 4, actually.
And did it happen all at once or over a period of time?
It happened over somewhat of a period of time, like about a couple weeks in between each other.
That's weird. I mean, it's not normal. You may have just be bad luck. Google has done. Yeah. Google did a long-term study on hard drives. Another company just released theirs, confirmed the same results. Hard drives either fail early or fail later, like after 3 years, and then they start failing a certain percent every year after 3 years. But for the most part, they're pretty reliable for the first 3 years. And they shouldn't, and when one fails doesn't mean the other one, unless your electricity's bad or something like that. Usually recovery is a software process. You can either download software and do it yourself. For best results, I'd get an expert if you can find one, because there are tricks of the trade that they'll know. Things like imaging the drive first, working on the image. There are tools they use like SpinRite, are $90. That's more than a new hard drive. So, it might be better to pay them, considering they have all the tools. But almost always, you can get this data back. In this case,
what software would you recommend?
Well, it's a series of tools, because you don't know where the failure is. But assuming it's a soft failure, not a physical failure, like if you had a power surge and it fried the circuitry, then that's a physical failure. And then it's more expensive because you have to go to somebody who has all the parts and who can replace parts in a clean room environment. That costs a lot of money. But most of the time that doesn't happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I noticed that my SD card that I had, one of them, the device that I had was an SD card in my camera, and it shows up in Windows, for example, but it says, hey, you need to format it. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because I have stuff on there.
SD cards die. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have like a hard drive, the external hard drive, for example, that's not even showing up in my Windows drive.
Right. These are unrelated, I think. They're just, it's just bad coincidence.
Yeah. Can I ask one more quick question?
Sure.
Have you heard anything about the Dell Venue 8 Pro?
Yeah.
I'm considering getting that tablet because it seems like it's running full Windows 8.
It is, in an 8-inch little teeny-weeny tablet. So there are a couple in this category. My friend Paul Thurrott, who writes the super site for Windows, winsupersite.com, has reviewed the Dell Venue Pro positively. I think he likes it. You should understand what the limitations are. I mean, it is full Windows, but it's an 8-inch tablet. And then there's a new one that he just reviewed, and I don't remember the name of it, but winsupersite.com. And we'll put the link in the show notes, of course. But his reviews, I think, are fairly positive of both. The price is right, and if what you need is a small, portable way to carry around Windows, full Windows, these are good choices. And I think because of the success of the Venue 8 Pro, you're going to see more of these. People have decided not, I think, to make Windows RT tablets. That's the ARM-based version of Windows that looks the same as Windows Pro, but it's not. It doesn't run your old Windows software, for one thing. And right now, only Microsoft and Nokia which will soon be part of Microsoft, continue to make those. I like them. I think they're great. They have more limitations. If you need a full Windows, though, there are some interesting choices. Inexpensive, compact tablets that will work. That somebody told me in the chat room, Hammy says it's going to be $99 for the Venue 8. Wow. Holy cow. At that price, get 3. That's a good deal. Let's see. Rudolph in Corona, California. Hi, Rudolph. Oh, I'm sorry, Rolf. Hi, Rolf. Leo Laporte.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hey, Leo. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
I hear you great.
Okay, I'm actually up in Barstow now. So.
Oh, you're driving. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I got the first question that relates to the Windows tablets, like the Dell you were just talking about.
Yeah.
They all let you put in a micro SD card.
Right.
To extend the memory.
That's right.
So
not extend. Be clear about this. Not extend RAM, but extend storage.
Well, okay, you're right. But what I'm curious about is, like, you can go into Control Panel and you can change my dock to go out to that micro SD card.
That's right.
Instead of the normal C drive.
That's right. Think of it as an external hard drive on a desktop computer. It's very similar.
Sure. But the real question is, so if I start going out there and accessing the drive a lot, are the micro SD cards reliable to use them for a long time with many different times you're going to access them?
Yeah, absolutely. They have all it's flash memory, same thing as an SSD, same thing as a flash card in your phone or in your camera. It's the same idea. But the thing to understand is that they all have a limited number of writes. However, the software is doing a lot of trickery to keep it what they call wear leveled, so that no one cell gets written too much. And my experience has been they last a couple of years. They last quite well. What you don't want to put on an SSD or a SD card drive is the temp file, things like that. But for storage, it's fine. Now, of course, you always are going to back this up, right? Micro SD cards are fairly inexpensive. They can be quite large, 64 gigs. And just make sure you have a backup. Easy to back it up. You pop it out, put it in something else and back it up or whatever. But make sure you have a backup for your data, and you can absolutely trust them. They do probably wear out a little faster than a spinning drive. But I think if you're going to get a couple of years out of it, no problem. And frankly, I use them all the time on my smartphone, the tablets. This is a very good way to extend the storage. And these tablets tend to come with smaller storage. So the deal on the Venue Pro is at the Microsoft Store. You should kind of understand that it's a weird little setup. The Venue 8 will be available. The Dell Venue 8 will be available for $100 only for a limited number of people. You're going to have to. The idea is, frankly, the Microsoft Store wants to create a line at the store. And then the next group of people will get it for $199, the next group for $299. So it's clever. It's a great way to get 100 people in line at a Microsoft Store, and it will work, I'm sure. And I'm sure that we will see it on the nightly news. Long lines at the Microsoft Store to get the Dell Venue Pro. But hey, for $99, that's a good deal. Of course, you have to find a Microsoft Store. They're not all over the place. U.S. only. And I guess some of the people in our chat room are in line already. $99, a pretty good deal. So that's the story, Rolf. Thank you for the call, and drive safely, okay? Tom in Westfield, New York. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, Tom.
I have a question about a project that I'm going to be doing. Right now, I've got a computer that's running VGA out to VGA splitter, okay. And then the video is going out VGA 25 feet to a projector and 5 feet to a monitor. So what I want to do with this is, I'm moving the projector to a new location, and I want to add a second projector. Both of them are going to have diverse paths, and they're each going to be about a run of about 100 feet.
Wow, it's a lot of distance, and because you're splitting it, it's already a weak signal. I think your big threat is attenuation. So what I'm going to recommend is you use something called Balun, B-A-L-U-N, that will take that, turn it into Ethernet, power it, and then you have a much longer throw. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Baluns. Baluns are the key. If you have good balance, you can go forever.
Here's a super secret.
And let me give you a link,
that could save you thousands.
James, for balance. What you want is VGA over. Yeah, you're gonna have to. So balun is an electrical device that converts to balanced signal and an unbalanced signal, blah, 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 blah. But the long-term result of this is that you can, if you go to video balance, for instance, you can extend a video signal for much, much farther. So like 100 meters, right? So what you're going to need is a VGA to Ethernet balun. And you need one on both ends. These are usually powered because they're gonna boost they're gonna boost the signal. It's not inexpensive. I've used HDMI baluns and it works pretty nice. Yeah, Ritchie baluns, the big bopper. Actually, I don't know that they sell. Come to think of it, maybe they don't sell VGA. I've used them for HDMI because it's digital to digital. They must have. Let's just look. Maybe they don't. Yeah, they do. They make VGA baluns. Like VGA over Cat 5. Yeah, we have a link to the schedule changes. You know, most of the reasons for the schedule change, all the reasons for the schedule changes is me. I wanted two things: to do fewer shows and to have 2 days in a row that are off, which I haven't had in, I don't know, ever. So, since Tech TV, I guess, since 2004. So, I understand it's discombobulating. We don't like to do these very often, but I think this is worth it for me. I'll be cutting down basically to 10 shows total a week. And I will have Thursday and Friday off. You can do the same thing. Migrating to HDMI, it's all about converters. So you can get a VGA to HDMI converter as well. So you need balance to extend the length, and then you need converters. Of course I will to security now. So I'm not going to give up any of the most important, all the important shows. The two shows I'm giving up are the Gizwiz, which hurts me to give up, but, it's a lot. That's a hard show. And Before You Buy. Every other show I will continue to do. Just the Gizwiz and Before You Buy. Can you do coax to HDMI? Yeah, sure you can. It's all about adapters, man. It's all about adapters. I know, I'm bummed about that too. But it was, Tuesday kills me. I do 3 shows, sometimes 4 on Tuesday. And by the end of the day, I'm just a zombie. And I used to be able to do that better than I can. I'm getting old. No, I'll do Windows Weekly, of course. Email a link or at least information to byb@twit.tv. Yeah, frame rate's going away. Tom doesn't want to do it, and Brian doesn't want to do it without Tom. So my suspicion is they're going to go off and do it on their own somewhere else. And I will let you know where. But you can also go to tommerritt.com. He'll tell you there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More cowbell. Every show can use more cowbell. I love it. Can I have a cowbell? Would it be so wrong? Would it be so very wrong for me to have a cowbell, Heather, and just every once in a while just go tonk tonk tonk? No,
not wrong at all. Let it flow.
It's the tech show with more cowbell. I think that's even like a great slogan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tech guy now with more cowbell.
Now with more cowbell. All right. For 2014, we're getting more cowbell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the resolution, man.
8888 Ask Leo. That's the number if you want to ask a question, make a comment, talk high tech with me, like Allie in Orange, California. Hi, Allie.
Hi, Leo. I love your show.
Thank you.
I really liked your review that you did. It was like a couple of weeks ago about the Xbox. Even though I'll probably never get one, I loved your review about it.
Oh, well, you are so nice. Thank you. I'm a big fan of the new Xbox One. I really like it. Even though it's got lots of rough edges, I feel like this is a neat device.
If I was more of a gamer, yes, I would totally.
You got it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense unless you play games. There's so many ways now to get the internet into your home theater, into your TV.
Right.
And then we mentioned the Chromecast, $35. You know, Xbox One's $500. So Chromecast is a great choice. Roku, I'm a big fan of the Roku. Apple TV, if you live in the Apple ecoverse, is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what can I do for you, Allie?
Yeah, speaking of Apple, I just left my iPhone 4 for a Samsung Galaxy S4.
Ooh, how was that? Was that painful?
Not really, because I already had a Google Nexus 7 tablet.
Oh, okay. So you you'd already had a toe in the Android water.
I did, yeah. And I probably won't go back to Apple, though I enjoyed my little run in its universe. But my problem is with my laptop, and it's been an issue since I've even had my iPhone and actually my iPod. Like, any device I have, whether it's my Galaxy, my Nexus, my iPhone, or my iPod, I plug it in, and none of my 3 USB ports are reading it, and they'll flash up for a second under devices, and then it will say that the MTP is not recognized.
Yeah.
And then they'll ask me to update the drivers, which I let it do its thing, and then it says, "Oh, your drivers are already updated." I'm like,
So the easiest way to do this with a Samsung device is to download something called Keys, Kies.
Okay.
Keys is Samsung's software for Windows. Actually, I think they have a Mac version too. Are you in a Mac? No, you're on Windows.
I'm on a Windows.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah, of course you are. So you download Keys. It's free from Samsung.com. Kies, and not only does it create a connection so you can look at your phone and all of that stuff, it also installs those drivers. So it updates those drivers. It is a little tricky to get the drivers working. And in fact, I would start to think, Apple's moved away from this. And frankly, I think so has Android. The whole notion of having to connect the phone or the device to a computer at all. So when you connect it why? Because you want to move music onto it?
Yeah, I'm mainly trying to transport music, and I actually have a ton of pictures on my iPhone that I want to just get onto my hard drive, and then it creates a problem because I am looking into getting an external hard drive, but I'm thinking, how am I even going to get the external hard drive to work with the notebook if it's not reading it,
Right. So this is also a problem for the iPhone? You don't get that MPP error?
No, it just says that it doesn't recognize it.
Yeah. And you have iTunes on your Windows machine?
I do. I have iTunes, but I haven't really been using it. I've just been using, it's called Copy Center or something like that. It was like a free program that you can just kind of use instead of iTunes.
Yeah. Okay. So use iTunes. Try it with iTunes.
Okay.
And make sure your iTunes is up to date because the drivers come from Apple.
Okay.
So if you can't see the phone or the iPod, then you want to make sure that the Apple stuff's up to date and installed.
Okay.
And as far as the Samsung Keys will help with that. But in general, Apple and everybody else kind of want you to do this over Wi-Fi now. So there's a great program called Double Twist. It's free that has you have to pay a couple bucks for the Air portion of it. You put it on your PC, you put it on your Android device, and it will copy music over via Wi-Fi whenever the device is in your network. Much easier.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. and do update your iTunes. And I think so. Adding keys and adding the latest version of iTunes in QuickTime will give you the drivers you need, and everything should then work as you expect.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Nice to talk to you, Allie. Gary in Buffalo, New York is coming up in just a moment. Gary he wants a webcam for his dog. On your dog? Gary on the line. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Leo.
Are you going to put the camera on the dog?
No. I bought the camera because it has two-way voice.
Oh, you want to talk to the dog?
Yeah, when I'm home, the dog is great. As soon as I leave, he turns into his head.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Where he gets in trouble, and I see him into trouble, I can tell him, "No, Mickey, go back."
Well, that scared Mickey like crazy. Mickey, no. That was scary. Why is there now? I would. Does it work?
I don't know. Oh, the camera works. It's a Samsung smart cam, but when you hook it up, it tells you that. And it's a funny troubleshooting guide. It says if your router doesn't support UPnP port forwarding, please buy new router.
Oh, isn't that nice? So, what kind of router do you have?
I've got a D-Link like.
All right. So it does all of those support UPnP. I actually don't recommend UPnP. It's a security flaw.
That's what I was calling about. That's what I thought you.
Yeah. So UPnP is a Microsoft technology, and the idea is that any device inside your network, a computer or a camera or whatever, can go to the router and say to the router, "Hey, I need to be able to talk to the outside world, so would you open a port," which is just basically a connection, and they have numbers running from 0 to 65,000 some. And would you open port, like 7834, and that'll be my port. And whenever anything comes in on that port, you send it to me, and vice versa. Then the router says fine. It's all automatic. The reason it's a security flaw is because it's automatic and it doesn't ask you. So if a bad guy gets some malware on your system, he can say to the router, "Hello, open all the ports all the time. I wish full access to the network." And the router just goes, "Yeah, sure, I do a universal plug and play." That's dangerous.
If I use the guest,
There's a couple of things. There's a couple of things you can do. Yes, you could DMZ it or use the guest. Truth is, port forwarding is the manual way of doing it that's completely safe. If they tell you, and they should in that book, which ports that camera uses, you can.
They tell you nothing, Leo.
They tell you nothing. Well, just do a Google search, because you know what? Somebody out there is going to know. If you can't find it, then yeah, you're going to have to use a DMZ, which says basically anything on this address is wide open to the internet. That's probably fine for a camera. I wouldn't walk naked in front of it. But if they just
the dog's always naked, but
the dog's naked, it's okay. If you have a camera on the internet, you got to hope that Samsung's keeping the software up to date so that it's not hackable, etc. But yeah, you need some way of putting that camera on the public internet, and you need to do it securely. UPnP is not really very secure. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to take your calls to talk high-tech, the computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, and all that jazz. And speaking of digital photography, you've probably, and I guess really backup too, you've heard me many times talk about 1, 2, 3 backup and the notion that you have to have 3 copies of everything and 2 different forms of media, one of them off-site. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the guy who invented that is sitting right across from me right now, Peter Krogh, who wrote the damn book, the Digital Asset Management book, and has now got a new one for management of your assets via Lightroom, is right here in studio. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Leo.
Nice to see you.
Great to see you.
A Washington, D.C.-based photographer who I think you're one of the most creative photographers I know. I remember when we were in Tasmania, and we were landing in the airplane, I thought you were nuts because you were shooting your Nikon, what was it, 3D, right? Or 1D out the window. I thought, what is he? D300. Anyway, it was like, what is he doing? He's taking like pictures of our landing. How nutty is that? And then you gave me the images. We made them into a movie, and it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it was a nice little stop action.
You spent a lot of time sitting in front of flowers really close, and then I realized you were using that lens, baby, to do tilt shift photography. It's really nice to see you, Peter. Thank you for joining us. First of all, how did you come up with 3-2-1 backup?
Well, I was looking for a simple way to try and tell people how to save their stuff.
As a photographer, I know, a professional photographer particularly, you can't afford to lose an image.
No, and I think it's not just pros, it's, people and their personal images are incredibly important.
Absolutely. Baby pictures, wedding, but you're not going to stage that wedding or birth again.
No.
You lose those pictures, you've lost them.
Yeah, and you could be in a lot of trouble depending on what people in your household are thinking about.
So I think your ears are probably burning a lot, because when I do this radio show, I often send people to a website created by you in association with the Library of Congress and the American Society of Media Photographers, dpbestflow.org. This is really intended for photographers at managing your workflow, understanding. And why did the Library of Congress get involved with this?
So they were concerned that the photographic record from professionals was going to disappear.
And it's such an asset.
Yeah, well, it's
to
incredibly
historians.
important.
Yeah.
And if you think about the stuff that makes its way into the library, a lot of times it's held privately. And so they really wanted to put a resource out there to help figure out how to hold your stuff.
Yeah, what the best practices are. This is the place to go if you want to read up on 321 backup. If you go to dpbestflow.org and you look at the best practices page, you'll see a backup page. And that's where Peter just talks about different kinds of backup, but also that 321 backup, which has really been a helpful, for me, way to kind of tell people this is what you need to do.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is trying to simplify the process.
Yeah. It's really complicated.
Well, what used to be really complicated 6, 8, 10 years ago, now it's a whole lot easier.
Well, that's kind of the point, too, is there are tools to make it easy. But now we got to learn the tools. So your new book is how to do this kind of thing with Lightroom.
Yeah, I'm calling it Organizing Your Photos. And I've specifically tried to make it be friendly towards the casual photographer as well as the professional photographer.
Yeah. Because Lightroom, and now, I would guess most people who are listening to this show, if they organize their photos at all, if they don't just copy them to the hard drive and hope they can find them later, are using Picasa, the free Picasa. Maybe they're using Adobe Photoshop Elements. Maybe they're using, if they're Macintosh people, they're using iPhoto. As you get more sophisticated, you want to use something a little bit more sophisticated. Now, these are not cheap tools. Photoshop is, I think, $150, something like that.
Lightroom's gotten pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, you know why? Because Apple's Aperture, which is the other competition, is $79 now.
Yeah, so Lightroom at $150, something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's part of that. They have a
Creative
Photoshop
Cloud
bundle, Photoshop and Lightroom, which is as cheap as $9 a month or $10 a month.
Yeah.
And, but really they're carving out a niche there among photographers who are intentional photographers. It's not just the people doing memory and camera phone stuff. It's really people who
they're taking pictures. Literally, like they're physically going, I'm going to take a camera, go out and take a picture.
Right. It's an activity or personal art form, something like that.
Well, Lisa and I have both used now Lightroom very effectively. I've started to make a point of, after I come back from a day of shooting, to immediately import the photos into Lightroom.
Yeah.
And immediately go through them and throw out the 99% that are junk. If I do that every day of shooting, then I don't have that big, massive photos when I get back from travel.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm working on in the new book is really telling people how they can manage that process, even if you don't stay on top of it every day.
Oh, good.
And even if you have a 2 or 3 or 5 year backlog of stuff you haven't been all that rigorous with. There's a whole lot of people like that.
Okay, so there is hope.
Yes, there's absolutely hope.
Thousands of pictures that I never went through.
Yeah.
And I deeply regret it. Fortunately, it's all in Lightroom, so Lightroom can help me do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's, I have a new kind of simple way of explaining it, that you have storage of the photos, tagging of the photos to tell you what it's about, and then the creative layer sitting on top where you put your pictures together in an interesting way.
Oh, this is good. Is the book in Amazon? Where can we get it?
At the moment, you can buy it at thedamnbook.com.
That's your website.
And
by the way, that's THEDAM. DAM stands for Digital Asset Management.
That's correct.
THEDAMbook.com.
Yeah.
And how much is it?
It is $34.95.
I'm going to buy it. It looks like it's multimedia because you've got video.
7 hours of video and 208 pages of text.
Oh, that's neat.
And we really like this. This was a technique that we developed when we were doing that project for the Library of Congress, where we put the stuff in text that needs to be in text, and then the stuff that you ought to learn from video is in video.
We're really entering a new world, aren't we? Where a paper book is just not the whole thing, that you can do so much more with Apple's iBook Author, things like that. You can really create an engaging multimedia, I don't want to call it even a book, thing that can help you learn. Well, that's great. Peter, it's so nice to see you.
Thrilled to be
People
here.
want to know more, thedamnbook.com. And again, the free site, DP Best Flow, DP stands for Digital Photography, dpbestflow.org. But, we'll have links on all this, too, at our website, techguylabs.com. And I'll put some links up. Where can we see your work, your photos?
You can see me at peterkrogh.com.
That's your portfolio page?
Yeah. And there's a link to some new work that I'm hosting on a site called Photo Shelter, which has some really interesting ways to throw your stuff up there and have it look
that's another
nice
topic that we should talk about at some point is where to put your photos, because I think a lot of people use Google Plus now. Facebook is probably the most popular. I've talked about SmugMug. People know about Flickr, but there are other choices, 500px and this new site. So that's really cool. I want to find out more about that.
Yeah, the whole online environment.
It's changing rapidly.
Yeah, and it's just a place of explosive growth.
Photoshelter.com. I'll have to find out more about that place.
Yeah, they have interesting, a really super easy way to get your stuff up and have it look good.
Is this from Tasmania? It looks like it.
No, that one
more
actually
recent.
is Denmark.
Denmark.
Believe it or not, but yeah, it does
That's the best reason to be a photographer. Travel the world, and you have an excuse.
That's been good for me. It's been real good for
Peter
me.
Krogh is PeterKrogh.com. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you,
Great to
Leo.
talk to you. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. I'm so glad to give Peter a plug and have him in studio with us, because I frankly steal his stuff all the time. Not his pictures, his ideas of how to back up your stuff, how to save your data. He's been really a wonderful asset to the community. Thedambook.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go. 8888 Ask Leo right after this. Our next call from Woodland Hills, California. Hey, Roger. Roger, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Leo.
Good afternoon.
Got a situation. My internet is through AT&T/Yahoo.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden last week, I lost my website with Yahoo and my main business email.
Oh, that's not good.
It's with I have one email address with AT&T, but I think AT&T and Yahoo are like together, but they're not. And you can't talk to AT&T about the web hosting for the small business. And you can't get a hold of Yahoo to talk to them.
Right.
You wait on the phone for an hour, and then they say, oh, the person you're trying to reach is not available, and they hang up on you.
Ay.
I took about 3 hours, and I finally found a website that I could email Yahoo the problem, and they got back to me with an incident number, and that was like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a word from them. And I was wondering if you have any insight on this. You know, the problem is that they had the website and the main business email. I've lost purchase orders. I've lost stuff that I can't, it's going to be really hard to get back. And let alone the website.
Boy.
Yeah.
I don't, this is bad news. It's really, I blame AT&T. AT&T set you up with Yahoo. They need to provide you with better service. And it's not, yes, I'm sure there's, ways to talk to Yahoo, et cetera, but it should be AT&T. For them to pass the buck is unacceptable. They're setting you up with Yahoo. That's their choice, not your choice.
Right.
You chose AT&T. So there are hotlines at Yahoo. I mean, there are presumably there are ways to reach people at Yahoo. The problem with Yahoo is that they don't probably get much money for you.
Yeah.
And from AT&T. So the whole thing is just a mess. In general, for your business, I think I would not recommend, as you have learned, using Yahoo.
Yeah.
Either for your business email or for your website. However, I don't know what else you're going to do. Right now, you're stuck, right? You need to get that back up. And in fact, I bet you don't even know how to get the domain name back.
I probably don't because I've got a couple domain names, and the one that I have is still with Yahoo.
Yeah, they registered it. They own it. Well, so they really need to respond. And I don't know of a better way to get a hold of Yahoo. You know, one thing you can do anytime you have trouble with a company, and it seems to work very well, especially with technology companies that don't have very good frontline customer service, is to write a letter to the CEO, to write to Marissa Mayer, the CEO of Yahoo. Because what happens is almost all of these companies, the CEO obviously isn't going to handle her own email, but she's got an office of the executive that will handle it. And there are probably 10 people dedicated to handling complaints like this that go to straight to the CEO. So if you're not getting any results calling the 800 number, then I would definitely write to Marissa Mayer, Mayer. She's the CEO of Yahoo. I don't have the address to hand, but let me just see if I can get I'm sure if I Google the Yahoo address, I suppose I could Yahoo the Yahoo address. I can get the street address. And I almost can guarantee you somebody will respond fairly quickly because, you tell them the whole story. Say, this is my business. I'm losing money. I called a national radio show and complained. They suggested that I contact you. I am at wit's end. This is costing me money, and I can get no response from Yahoo. And I think that she will quickly help you.
Well, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
See what happens. I mean, otherwise I'm dead in the water.
Yeah.
Redo.
This is terrible.
Do you think they still have it someplace?
Oh yeah. What they need to do is owe you. Of course they have it. They owe you an explanation of what happened. Did they tell you why they took it down?
No, I haven't been able to talk to them.
Yeah, they owe you an explanation. If you violated terms of service or whatever, they need to tell you that. If it's an error on their part, they need to fix it. And whatever happens, they need to give you back your domain name and and the ability to move it to another place.
Yeah, it would be nice if I could get the website back.
If you could just get the website and you could move it to another hosting company, then you could say goodbye to Yahoo, which is my recommendation. Right. But you've got to get it from them.
That main website. The main email address is on my business cards.
Yeah,
and and it's really
in general, what you really want to do is you need to own all that stuff. You can't let anybody else own it, which means you need to register the domain name. You don't have to own the servers, but you need to control which servers are being used. So going to a domain registrar, hover.com, or even GoDaddy, I don't usually recommend them. I hate their ads, but
I think a couple of them I have is with name.com.
Name.com, another good one. As long as that's your account and your name, then you can go to name.com. You can say, hey, I've moved. I want my email handled by a different company, and I want my website hosted by a different company. From the point of view of people writing to you or trying to visit your website, it's the same. They type in the old domain, and it goes to the new web host. So you can, as long as you own that stuff, you can move off of Yahoo with no interruption in service and that's the beauty of how the net works. The domain name is just a pointer, and it could point somewhere else.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate the information, and I'll give it a go.
Good luck. Let me know what happens.
I will.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I will.
And
you have a great day, and I appreciate all the information. I listen to you all the time.
Hey, thank you, Roger. Take care. Art and Karen in Hemet, the old Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Art. Hello, Karen.
Hey, Leo.
Hey.
You went to the post office. Sorry.
We keep you on hold long enough, you end up going out and doing what you were going to do anyway.
Yeah, that's what happened, kind of. I'm a contractor, and I've always had PCs, and my wife's trying to talk me into getting a Mac Mini.
Well, you know what the answer, the secret to a long marriage is yes, dear. Yes, dear. A Mac Mini would be a very different thing. Does she use Macs?
Yeah, she has a Mac Mini and an iPad Air, or not an iPad, but a.
So she's in the Apple universe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Let me talk while Karen's at the post office. Let me talk about the pros and the cons of such a decision. We'll be back with more. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by my good buddies. And I can say this because I know them, I've met them, and I love them at IT Pro TV. If you are trying to make a career in the tech industry, or you're in the tech industry and you'd like to sharpen your skills, IT Pro TV is a great way to do it. Their slogan, I love it. It's kind of a play on words. Learn without even knowing it. Without even knowing IT. Tim and Don are longtime pros in these kinds of training. And, you know, what happened is that they saw a talk I did at the NAB show. They saw what we were doing with Twit. They were fans of the screensavers. And they thought, you know, this would be a good way for people to learn IT, to prepare for their CompTIA, their Microsoft, or their Cisco certifications. They cover things like network security, laptop repair, VLAN, subnetting, really hardcore stuff that you need to know for the tests. The episode library, in fact, I'll log into my episode library right here. The episode library is organized by the cert that you're going for, whether it's A+, Net+, Security+, MCSA, CCENT, CCNA. They're working all the time. I love it that you can watch live. I think that's really a cool feature of it. And if they're just like us, if they're not live, they replay previous episodes. Oh, this is geeky. I could tell right now.
I don't think I did. No, looks like we're good. Then one
public networks, private networks.
192.168.
I love this.
Dang, where is that?
When you're logged in, you can chat and ask questions directly, just like what we do at Twit. In fact, they pretty much use the same exact equipment as we use at Twit. They use the TriCaster, the same mics, the same everything. I love these guys. I am really thrilled. Shows are streamed live or on demand to your Roku. They have a great Roku channel, by the way. That makes it really easy. Computer or your mobile device. They offer HD and SD quality. And it's all for a flat fee. One low monthly price, giving you access to everything. And, of course, a no-hassle, easy cancellation policy. The best kind of cancellation. I got the cert. I got the job. You're going to love it. So here's the deal. Normally, this is $57 a month, $570 for the entire year. They love Twit, and we love them, so we've arranged for the offer code TG50, and you're going to get 50% off for the lifetime of your account. That makes it $28.50 a month, $285 a year. That's a heck of a deal. Test drive the content. Visit itpro.tv/techguy. Browse around, and if you decide to buy, make sure you use the offer code TG50 to get 50% off. These guys are really great. And if this is something you're looking for, this is a better deal than anything else out there and a really fun way to learn. IT Pro TV. It's at itpro.tv/techguy. Heather Hammond and I have just learned it is National Cotton Candy Day. So we're running out to buy some of that tasty confectionery. Why December? Is that that's not the time to eat cotton candy?
No sense. Maybe he got it wrong. Maybe it's National Candy Cane Day.
That would make sense.
I saw that on Pee Wee Herman's Twitter feed.
Oh, well, Pee Wee Herman. There you go.
Pee Wee Herman said
this is actually a much more serious day. This is the day that will live in infamy, December 7th. The day, of course, that Pearl Harbor was attacked, and the beginning of the U.S. involvement in World War II. So,
oh my goodness,
a sad day for Pearl Harbor survivors and those who were not, the families of those who were not. It is, though, National Cotton Candy Day as well. So, you pick which one you want to commemorate. Weird. Which one should I talk to? Oh, we were talking to Art. We want to help him. He's in a mixed marriage, you understand.
Right.
He's Windows, she's PC. Now, why did she say the Mac Mini, Art?
I carry it around with me from job to job, and it's smaller.
And you don't want a laptop? Because, of course, a laptop is designed to be carried from job to job.
Yeah, I like a laptop.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, here's Karen. Oh, rats. We were trying to do this while Karen was at the post office.
I was mailing in some applications for the Covered California people.
Oh, good. Good.
So this is why I'm setting on site trying to, show people what they get covered for. And we have an old iPad, the very first generation, and it keeps glitching and cutting out. So I thought maybe a new one, and then he could use it for work because we've bought like 6 computers, and something happens over the last like 4 years, and now I bought myself a Mac, and everyone uses mine, and I don't like them taking my.
Yeah, darn it. So you're both in the same line of work. You help people with health insurance?
I do. He's construction.
He does construction. So he needs, if you're going to use the same device, a device that also can help him with what he wants to do at construction. So let me ask you, Art, what do you do with that? Do you do design, build? Do you do?
Excel usually,
So you're doing estimates and billing with Excel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look at plans online.
You look at plans, okay.
Adobe.
Are those plans on the web, or are they in a particular format you need to use?
Usually in web.
Okay, because if for instance there's a specific, let's say you used a specific estimator program that was a Windows program, you'd have to have a Windows machine really, to make or you wouldn't have to, but it would only make sense to use a Windows machine.
So it opens on the big Mac that we have, the huge Mac. Every plan that he's got to use opens on that. Well, that
good news. That's good news. That means the Mac would work for you. It'll do everything you want. Of course, you can use Excel on a Mac. Microsoft does offer that. It's pretty much the same. Now, an iPad. So now, are you saying an iPad Mini or a Mac Mini?
An iPad Mini.
That's a different thing. See, so the iPad Mini or big is still an iPad, not a computer in the sense that, say, Windows or Mac OS 10 is. So what you need to do is you need to try it on your iPad to see if the sites that he needs to see work. There are spreadsheet programs. Probably you'll use Apple's free program. It comes with the iPad Mini. It's called it's called Numbers. And Numbers is not identical to Excel. In some ways, it's better because presentations are great. If you're printing invoices from your spreadsheet, Numbers is a very good choice. But if you have Excel macros you need to use, it's a terrible choice. It doesn't have the same exact functionality as Excel.
So we have already our invoices done in Excel. Can we change it over to the Numbers?
You can, but Well, Numbers will read it. Whether it'll look the same is another issue. You might, and I would expect you'll want to spend some time in Numbers polishing it up, making it look better. And since you have a big Mac, you can do that on the desktop, and then you can save it in the iWork cloud and use it on the iPad as well. There are some real advantages. You can use iCloud, so all those invoices will be saved not only on the iPad, but in the cloud where you can look at them on the desktop. There are some advantages to doing that. But what I would suggest is before you make that leap, and I know Art sounds like he's a little nervous about it, before you make that leap, you try all the things you want to do and make sure you can do that on your iPad.
Now we've been, we're homeschooled, and we weren't able to get on Flash sites, but we did download a Puffin application, and it lets us get on Flash. Will it let us do Adobe too? Does I get Adobe Flash?
Adobe Reader, you mean?
Well, I don't. It's
So Flash is Flash. If you're able to see any Flash, yeah, it's all the same. Flash comes from Adobe. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah. Although, if you need to use Flash, I would not try to do it on a tablet. Even Adobe doesn't really want to make Flash available for mobile devices. It really is a desktop software. So if you use it for homeschooling, the truth is an iPad's great for homeschooling because there's so many educational programs made for the iPad. But if it's not ideal for any kind of Flash. It's always a challenge. That Puffin browser gets it there, but it does it with some tricks. You can't guarantee it's always going to work. So, it's cool. It's a good workaround, but
it's been working for us for like the last few months. We did it, so now we're using it. I mean, we haven't had problems, my son and I, but.
Well, again, you want to do stuff with the stuff Art does and make sure all of Art's stuff works.
She got to take it.
Yeah. Puffin's an interesting idea. Basically, what they do is they take the flash and they process it on their servers, and then make it so that you can see it on an iPad. The iPad never supports Flash, but it can do this as kind of as a window to Flash using Puffin. So again, you get where I'm going here. That there's no reason that he couldn't use an iPad all the time. But you got to try all those things he wants to do and make sure it works. We know it works on Windows. That's what you're using.
Okay. He'll go MacBook Air then, I guess.
And now here's a nice thing. You get an Air, and you can, not an iPad, a MacBook you're talking about, right?
Yeah, now we are,
Yeah, now you can install Windows on it. And if you really need Windows, you're rebooting, it's a Windows machine, or you could even use Windows in an emulation. And then you've got the Mac running, but you got a Windows window. You can actually have Microsoft Excel for Windows running, all of that. So that gives you the best of both worlds. Apple Macintosh computers are the only computers that can run both Windows and Mac OS X at the same time.
Oh, that's good then. That's probably our decision then.
Yeah, and Flash works great on Macintosh, no problem. Yeah, I think that is the good way. And you know, that is very portable.
Yeah. I mean, I take mine to work all the time, but the other day I was here, and I thought it might be even better to get the mini because it's even smaller. I carry a whole bunch of stuff. And
I think an iPad has such limitations. You'd probably be better off getting a full computer, a MacBook. Yeah. And the MacBook Airs are so light. They're beautiful. The big difference is the moolah, the greenbacks, you know. It's a lot of money. But it is for your work. It's tax deductible. And I think when you're using a technology for work, it's worth investing in something that's really going to work for you because you're using it day in, day out to make money. Don't compromise.
Yeah. That's right.
Right? There you go.
We solved this. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you. I should do a stamps.com ad right here. Poor Karen had to go to the post office. 8888 ask Leo 888-827-5536. Fran and Irvine, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Fran.
Hi, Leo. I had a question about a 21-inch iMac that I was considering buying.
Great.
I
have to take a break. I hear the music. We'll be back in 2 minutes, okay? I'm so sorry. Leo, when the commercials call, Leo listens. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Art knows that from the construction industry. Measure twice, cut once. Always, never. Hey, you don't have to. Hey, Gary, how are you? Happy holidays. Good to see you. What you up to these days?
Retirement. 3 weeks.
No. You're too young to retire.
That's why I'm retired.
Yeah, I know. I always thought maybe I'd retire before I was 80. Doesn't look like it now, but what the hell?
Doesn't mean I'm not going to still do it.
I like what I'm doing.
I like what I'm doing.
3 weeks, huh?
Yeah, my 60th birthday.
Congratulations.
Time to my passion.
Oh, interesting.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs: air, water, food.
And what are you gonna grow in there?
I'm gonna grow tilapia, koi.
Oh, it's fish aquaponics. Fish farming. Yeah, tilapia is highly commonly farmed, isn't it?
But they produce the poops all they want. That feeds the plants, the basil, the lettuce.
Oh, so it's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, with the computer control.
Wow.
I did it 23 years ago with just the fish. Now I'm adding the plants.
And are you going to start selling this stuff?
Well, you gotta give talks. I'm not sure what it's going to be.
I want to do that.
But the reason I came here was because
I want to grow my own basil.
I want to help you in 2014. You need more cowbell.
It's from morecowbell.com. I need a stick. Wait a minute. Here. Oh, yeah. Love it.
This painting, because this painting is pretty intricate.
Thank you, Bert. Imagine learning from the best. More cowbell. You can't give me your cowbell. That's very nice of you. Look, I can even wear it around my neck. You never know when you need more cowbell. This is so great. Was this a gimme at a conference? Yeah.
Got wood?
Got wood? Always here.
How
Hairbrushes are always useful for this.
Yeah, let him join in on the fun.
All right, you want to cowbell it? Here we go. I need a stick. I need a drumstick. More cowbell. Hey, Dickie D.
Hey, Leo. Oh, I like that. Now that's nice.
Oh, I could do Salvation Army bell ringer here. That's so awesome.
Do you have one of his business cards?
I do. The metal ones. They're awesome. You can cut meat with them. No, I haven't. And then the funny thing is that when they made the Founders card, they made it just like Woz's card. I think it went to the same place. They were obviously inspired by Woz.
Talked with Veterans Hall the other night. Told some good stories about cutting his meat in the first class.
Yeah. He's told me that story. That's a funny story. And it's a business card. They let it through the security.
Your girlfriend Kathy's watching you right now.
Hello, Kathy. Hello. In 3 weeks, your life is over. Gary's going to be home all day. Oh, then you're all right, then. Then you're all right. Unless he moves to San Diego, then you're screwed. It is. Weather's nice. Love San Diego. Lisa and I spent a lovely weekend down there with Michael at the Coronado. Boy, was that fun. Beautiful. Right on the beach. Love the Coronado.
She's freaking out over this situation. I like her because she's not that technical.
Kathy, don't freak out. Don't freak out. I know I still have to go over to my ex-wife's house to turn on the TV. Jennifer goes, I can't, the TV won't. I said, all right, I'll be right there.
For the live read. Really explore the studio space this time.
I got more cowbell. Thanks to Gary Cowbell Koffler, who brought me a cowbell. Look at that. Talk about an instant New Year resolution resolving itself. Isn't that awesome? I got more cowbell. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We were talking to Fran in Irvine, and we're going to get to the Gizwiz in just a second, but I wanted to finish up with Fran. So what can I do to help you, Fran?
Hi, Leo. I just wanted to get your opinion about buying a 21-inch iMac now or if I should wait. The ones that they have in the stores, you probably know, come with OS 7, and they let you download Mavericks. But I've read that on the Internet that people have had a lot of problems when they've done that.
No, it's fine. In fact, that's the only way you can install Mavericks, even if, at any time. And that's how I install Mavericks. Apple no longer gives you a disk or even a USB key with the operating system. You have to do it through the App Store.
So even if it were to come out in in 6 months, it would be the same.
It's exactly. There's nothing's going to change. Now, if I'm surprised that these iMacs are not yet with Mavericks on them. Are you getting it directly from Apple?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they're shipping their 21-inch iMac with the old operating system.
That's what I was told.
No. I would go to an Apple store, because that's not that. Maybe you're getting a refurb. Even on the web page, on the Apple Store web page, where they show these, they show them with Mavericks on them. So I'm pretty sure you're talking about a desktop computer, the iMac.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if you go to an Apple store or you get them online, it will have OS X Mavericks on it. It's been out long enough now.
And so you don't think it's necessary to wait till there's an update for Mavericks?
No. It's fine now. There have been 3 updates or 2 updates for Mavericks. There'll be a 3rd by the time you get it. This is fine. Sure.
Is Fusion Drive worth buying?
No.
If I'm not buying.
I bought the Fusion Drive, and it doesn't make enough of a difference. I'd either get a solid-state drive or get a spinning drive. I wouldn't spend more for the middle ground, which is half solid-state, half spinning. That's what I have on my iMac, and frankly, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's so expensive, I wouldn't spend the money.
Okay, can I ask you one more question?
Certainly.
I go to a lot of international websites to read the news, and I do that daily, and I'm wondering if I should have some kind of virus protection on my Mac. They tell me at the Apple Store I don't need one.
No, and they're right.
Okay, so I don't have to worry.
No.
Okay, you've answered all my questions.
Hey, enjoy your new Mac. Thank you, Fran.
Thanks.
We're going to get to the Gizwiz, Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, with his gadget of the day in just a second. Before we do, though, let's talk about backup, because you know what? Fran's got a new computer. Now's a great time to install Carbonite to start right with your brand new computer. Although any time's the right time to install Carbonite. As soon as you install Carbonite, it starts backing up to the cloud, encrypted so it's secure. It's automatic. You don't have to think about it. It's continuous whenever you're connected. And once you get that first set of backup stuff, that's why it's great with a new computer, because there's no data yet. So it sets you up almost right away. Then keeping up to date is a And if you want to do an upgrade or a downgrade or a side grade, if you want to make some changes to your system, you've got all your data backed up. You don't even have to think about it. Plus, you can access your data anywhere. Log on to your Carbonite account on any computer, PC or Mac. Or their smartphone apps. Those are free. And there's your stuff. You can even email it to somebody. I love Carbonite. I know you will, too. So I want you to try it free for 2 weeks. Go to Carbonite.com. PC or Mac, $59.99 a year for everything on your PC or Mac. And if you do use my name, Leo, for the 2-week free trial, you don't need to use a credit card, and you'll get 2 free months with purchase. You got to back it up to get it back, so do it right with Carbonite. Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer in the Gizwiz, and he is in the beautiful Disneyland, mid-Manhattan, where it is 88 degrees today.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hey, Dick, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Did you go out and see the lighting of the tree at Rockefeller Center?
No. The line to see the tree started outside my apartment, which is 55 blocks away. So there's no...
It's crazy. I know. What I tried to do that a few years ago with my kids, and
you can't get near it.
We realized we couldn't actually get anywhere near it. There's all these fences and stuff. So we just gave up and watched it on TV.
Yeah. It's not like the fireworks where you can look up. You sort of have to be within 2 blocks of it, and very close to Rockefeller Center. And so
crazy.
I watch it on television.
It's crazy. So what do you got for us today?
Oh, we're varying it a little bit, only because you were kind enough to say, sure, mention it on the radio show, the new book.
I got to get mine. Go ahead.
Zero financial interest in this. My pay for putting something in this book was a free copy. So it's called Inside Mad, and it's a very clever idea. Nick Meglin was one of the people who suggested it years ago, and John Ficarra said they went to lunch and totally forgot about it for 15 years. And it was to ask each of the usual gang of idiots, the people who've been at Mad the longest, to pick the favorite thing they had written over the years. Then they got, I think it's 17 celebrities who told Mad what their favorite pieces
Isn't
were.
That great?
And there's a section on Mad as it appeared on television, Mad as it appeared in the movies. Judd Apatow did the intro.
Anything of yours in here?
Yeah. My favorite thing, it was a takeoff on an over-the-counter drug, which I called Stop of the Sneezing.
Stop of the Sneezing.
Stop of the Sneezing. And then, like, John Stamos picked Full House to take off on his Full House, which I had written. And Jeff Proust had picked Survivor, which I had written. So I'm in the book 5 or 6 times.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This is so much fun. Anybody who loves Mad Magazine would love this. But what I like about it is, unlike some of the other Mad books, this is full color, glossy coffee table book. I mean, this is the way. I mean, Mad never looked this good.
No, absolutely. And instead of a fold in, we have a 3-panel fold out with a giant Alfred on it. And the amazing thing is Amazon. Amazon is selling this for under $18. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, it ships free.
This is neat.
So the 1 or 2 I gave as gifts, I just bought on Amazon. It's cheaper to buy it on Amazon and have them ship it than me FedEx a book.
Well, as you know, I have to. Lisa's son is 11, and that's exactly the right age for Mad Magazine.
Oh, perfect.
So he's
going
to get one.
Oh, okay, good.
Under the tree. St. Nick's going to stuff it in his stocking. That's so fun, and every time this time of year, I'm always grateful to think about the fact that you're a good friend, a guy I grew up reading as a kid because I was a major Mad Magazine fan, and somehow through the magic the interwebs. We've become buddies, and I think that's
absolutely. When I was growing up, I was saying someday in the future, I'm going to meet a guy who's into tech, and we're going to become best buddies.
Yeah. It was your lifetime dream too, hey?
I know. And then I met Carrillo, and I thought,
come on.
This isn't working at all. There's got to be someone better. And then you came up.
Gizwiz.biz. That's the website for Dick DeBartolo. That's where you can play the What the Heck Is It game, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. And all you have to do is identify. Well, really, it's kind of easy because there's 12 autographed copies of Mad Magazine for the people who correctly identify this close-up picture of a gadget. And there's 24 for people who don't. So, frankly, you're much better off if you don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
Just make up something silly.
Dumbness pays off.
Dumbness pays in the great tradition of Mad Magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so happy holiday, Dick. It's great to talk to you. We normally do the Gizwiz right after the radio show. We're going to do an interview with Peter Krogh and then talking about photography at twit.tv and then the Gizwiz around about 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Perfect.
If you don't mind sticking around a little later.
No, I'll be here. I'm going to hang up, and John will call me back.
Don't stay on the line.
No.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I'm so tired of putting quarters in this thing. There should be some free internet thing someday.
Hey, thank you, Dick D.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. I think we've probably run out of time for this edition of the Tech Guy Show. I hate to pick up a call and say I only have 10 seconds to help you. I mean, not that I don't do that all the time, but I think this might be the one time I'd like to avoid that. So thank you to Heather Hammond, our phone ranger, for being here. This was, people probably don't know this, but we had our company Christmas party last night. And so everybody who's here today is extraordinarily hungover. And mostly from overeating lasagna and pasta and pizza. I'm in a food coma.
I'm still bombed. That's how I got the name. No.
No. We had more food. I know, John, you were just drinking milk. I know. I'm not looking at you, John Slanina. John, did you indulge? Did you have a little tiramisu? And we went to Tony's of North Beach. This guy apparently surprised the entire world by winning the Italian pizza competition. He's an American.
The World Cup.
The World Cup of pizza. Anyway, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Nathan Staten, back at the ranch. Thank you all for joining me. Have a great Geek Week. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows and Windows Weekly, Macintosh and Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.